Welcome to our reality, everybody. I don't know why you're here, but I am glad you are because tonight we're going to be talking about more Traitors Season 4, the US version, that is. It's episodes 4 and 5 today, the second batch of episodes. We have on our screens, so we have more murders, more banishments to go over, more mourning, and more stress, and just ugh. But some campy moments, some entertainment, a lot of things to go over, a lot of the season yet to be played of the Traitors, and I am so excited to talk about it. We are here live on YouTube, and if you're here for the very first time, my name is Barrett. Joining me as always is the Nick City and the Zack Perez, my fellow Traitors extraordinaires, colleagues, whatever word I use to describe every week. But ready to talk everything Traitors US Season 4, Episodes 4 and 5. So welcome, everybody. If you're here live, if you're here not live, welcome anyway. If I have made timestamps, please click ahead. I didn't do that last week, and I felt the need to make the note today. So feel free, if I have made them at that point, to click around. Anyway, Nick and Zack, hello. First off, I should have said a spoiler warning probably for the graphic that I have up, but if you clicked on this video, you probably were well warned, I hope. Nick, I'm going to come to you first. 5 episodes in now of the Traitors US Season 4. How do we feel?
Oh boy, frustrated? I don't even know like what the word would be, but definitely not happy, as I see the chat saying as well. I mean, this boot order feels personal at this point, is what I'm trying to say. Like, there's not really much people left that I knew before coming into this, but the ones that I did know before coming into this are actually kind of doing kind of well, the ones that are left. So, I mean, my husband Rob is doing a great job, is all I'm trying to say.
Not
So
Rob C.
no, because Rob C is not my
Ex-husband Rob
husband.
C. Yes, current husband Rob R.
Right, right. Rob C is a taken man. Let's get that straight. Rob R is not, except by me. Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm enjoying it. I think that it had my expectations were here and they've gone here and they keep going lower. So we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. But it's getting kind of frustrating, to say the least.
All right, we love a negative trajectory. We love a graph that goes down. Zack,
Do
I will
we?
go to you. I will go to you now. I do have a message from somebody though to play you beforehand. Just talking about. I feel like this is a good intro to this podcast today.
Yes.
It's with all the gamers that we are losing, whether we are like that mad when it happens in the moment based on their previous decisions in the game, yet to be talked about on this podcast. But there's been a lot of discourse about the gamers and everything and the housewives and how do we feel about a Traitor season between the mixing of two, and how do we root for anybody in a season like this. But I have a message from one of the Traitors himself for Zack, and Zack, I'll get your thoughts on the episodes right after this.
But gamer fans are just like whiny. Like, boo hoo. Go cry in your room. Like, y'all just think you're superior. And you ain't.
So Zack, I do want to know your thoughts on this episode, but what do you think about this message from the Traitor herself, Candace Dillard Bassett?
I mean, I like Candace, so I don't know why it's directed towards me. Uh, I more have a problem with the man that no one knows. The women are womening. Like Lisa and Candace go off. Rob R can go on somewhere else. But
Oh,
yeah, but if I had a nickel for every time Natalie told people to get together and vote out a problematic and racist person, I'd have 2 nickels. But which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's already happened twice in my lifetime. And then if I also had a nickel for every time Colton decided to stalk a reality TV personality woman, uh, um, it's I would have 2 nickels, and it's weird that it's happened twice again. Uh, this I'm still watching. I mean, I'm I'm sad that my people are going out. I still have Natalie. Natalie is holding it strong. I don't feel like anyone's looking at her, which is good. Uh, I really wasn't a fan of Jam Jam before, so it wasn't like, I mean, if he's still going, sure, why not? But Natalie's the only person that I'm really rooting for. Natalie and Lisa. Um, it's just, man, it's like a purge of the gamers. But I guess this is our karma from last season. So maybe next time we'll bring in the big guns, and Casey and uh Casey from Big Brother 20 and Nicole are gonna come in and just run circles around everyone.
If Nicole Franzel went in there and won Traitors as a traitor, I would take back everything I have ever. I'm telling you right now, I will take back everything I've ever said about Nicole Franzel, and you can clip this, and if it happens in the future, gladly we'll do it. I agree with people though. I think she's like partly our last hope for Big Brother. But
Stop.
but no, I would love to talk about
No.
like Big Brother players that we would love to see on Traitors one day. If we had like our own Big Brother cast, I feel like that would be really fun to talk about. But I agree with you. We keep Big Brother's track record with Traitors. It continues to be awful. Continues to be
Well,
garbage.
the best that Barrett, I'm sorry, we can't do a Big Brother Traders thing. The best I can do is maybe uh get them to in Europe and travel around the world, maybe bring on a partner and
Yeah.
race around. That's the best we can do though.
Yeah, if the brands were watching, I'd be all over it. I'd be all for it. But I agree, Jameson. Wait, no, I don't agree with you, Jameson. I would actually do that. Come on. I'm gonna get on track real quick though, because we're probably gonna get into the weeds and a lot of things. So I at least like to. I'll set this all up for us. So, episode 4, we left off last week with our face-to-face murder about to happen. We were between Carolyn and Eric, and Lisa, who was not going to be murdered regardless, and Kristen Kish, and I believe there was one other person. Doesn't matter though. We did find out that in the beginning of this episode, none other than Carolyn Stanbury from Real Housewives of Dubai was the one murdered, which is not what I expected coming out of that. I feel like none of us said Carolyn
Yeah.
last week. We either said Kristen or Eric. So this was a bit shocking to me. And of course, Lisa comes out and says, I'm doing this to throw the scent off the housewives. You know, it's fine. I love this moment where Carolyn takes off, or they all take off the hoods, and Carolyn's just like, Rinna, you bitch. And Lisa's just sitting there like, sorry. Like, I did like that. I don't know if
And
I agree with
then
this murder, though. I would love to know y'all's thoughts about everything with this segment, though. What were you going to say,
What
Zach?
was I say? You're missing the best part. Like, I guess I'll see you at BravoCon. She's like, you won't.
Yeah. I figured you would love the BravoCon portion of this segment. So, but Zach, you can go ahead and go first. What did you think of this Carolyn murder to start off episode 4?
I think it makes complete sense. It goes against what mainly me that I was talking about in the past few episodes, and what we kind of were wondering is if Lisa was like gonna be sort of like, well, with Phaedra it was different because it was her own cast member, but like pseudo housewife strong a little bit, didn't really want to vote out a housewife or banish or murder a housewife. But Lisa's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, this is not, no one's gonna expect me to do this, so I'm gonna do it. So I kind of liked it, not gonna lie. I kind of wish it was Ron just for the camp of it, but yeah, I liked the moment though.
Yeah, Jameson, thank you for adding Ron. I don't know why I completely forgot about Ron's "Show me your faces" that literally ended episode 3. But yeah, Ron was another one of those people I really wasn't worried about, just because he was gonna get votes, if not apparently in this roundtable in this episode, eventually. But okay, I'm kind of a pro Carolyn murder here from Zach. Nick, do you feel the same way about this Carolyn murder?
I feel opposite. So I honestly think it was a very bad move for her to do this. At first I thought it was like okay, and now I'm like, I've changed my mind. Like the next, like, okay, when I was watching the episode, it happened and I was like, oh, that was smart. And then like the next day happened and I was like, wait, that was really stupid of them. Because I feel like the housewives, if Lisa is gonna go against the housewives, like fine. But like the other housewives were not going to go against Lisa. And that's like the thing that I feel like she kind of took for granted, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. Because you see it even after the first one. Lisa votes for Portia. And you hear Caroline and Dorinda kind of being like, oh, like housewife on housewife crime already, right? But to me, like, that shows that, like, the ones that are not Lisa are kind of all trying to stick together. And then you have Lisa and Candace in the turret already. So obviously they're going to have each other's back. So it's like, why are we going to get rid of Carolyn when, like, she kind of wasn't going to vote for Lisa or Candace, which is two of the three traitors. So I kind of think it was dumb. And you're also getting rid of another housewife when eventually they're going to think it's a housewife. And it's just, I feel like she's putting herself, or I say her as if Candace isn't also a part of this whole decision making, but I feel like the two of them are putting themselves in like a hole where it's going to get narrowed down to one of the two of them, and they're going to eventually end up banishing one, being like, oh my God, it's a traitor. And then the other one's going to get off scot-free. So that's my opinion.
I see what you mean though. Cause like once the numbers get dwindled and everything like that, like the people say Johnny, Mark, Eric, Maura, Kristen, they're not going to be inclined to stick up for Lisa or Candace for that matter because they don't have any. I can see what you mean by that. I didn't think about that part.
Carolyn was never going to be a vote against Lisa, or Candace, because she was housewife strong. So it just doesn't. I get the Portia thing because it was a banishment. You want to look like that in front of the whole house, like, hey, I'm not like housewife strong. I kind of get that more than like killing a housewife. That I feel like there's a difference.
I feel like that.
I think it's.
Oh.
No, you're fine. I was gonna say I think it's a fine line to walk between being housewife strong and also voting out a housewife. Or I think there's a fine line between like voting out a housewife to seem like you believe it's the right choice versus being fishy about it. And I just feel like there's so much more room for the housewives to be like, this is very fishy. With Lisa voting out Portia and then Carolyn going. I do feel like there is a reverse psychology game you could play. Maybe if you're another not a gamer on the game itself, if you're saying, okay, well maybe they're murdering housewives because they're not a housewife, or maybe they're murdering housewives as a housewife, or maybe they want us to think that there's a housewife and so they're murdering housewives thinking that maybe they're trying to do the reverse psychology, and you can just go in like endless loops with it. But what I think it comes down to is like there were 5 housewives on this cast. They're gonna last season so many housewives got killed, banished, whatever early on in the season. They're going to make at least one housewife a traitor, and it's the same sense that I get frustrated like seeing people being like, well maybe Michael is a traitor. It's like, no, we're in real life where NBC does not make Michael Rappaport the traitor, but they do put him on the show, you know? So I get tired of like well maybe they are though. I don't think that we need to say that for celebrity traitors, but I do think this is a bad move, and I've seen a lot of variants in how people feel about this, which is kind of cool. But it also probably goes to show in traitors, like, does it, what the saying is, if it's a good move or bad move really matter until we see the outcome of it. But I do think that this is bad for the sense that like Lisa is now of 3 housewives to choose from as a banishment, since we're seeing Colton have eyes on her now, as opposed to 5, which would have been, I don't know. It just seems like you've got to keep your numbers, especially if they're never going to vote you out. It's like, oh my God. But I can agree on the other side of that. If it's a whole trick, if it's a smokescreen, it's hard to say how people in that castle feel when we're watching from above. But
I feel like that just brings up the question. A question that irks me. Why the fuck is Eric or why the fuck are Eric, Mark, Johnny, Kristen, and Steven and Johnny's friends interviewer, why are they still here? All of them, not just like one of them, not one of them have not been picked off. People who, no offense to all of the Eric listeners or the Mark viewers or the Johnny Finger Skater fans, like any One Tree Hill fan, why are all of these people still here? Just like
our viewer count goes to 0. I've been watching it. Fuck, it was all of them. But yeah, this it's not really a murder I necessarily care about the most, because Carolyn honestly had like what 10 seconds of screen time, and I will never watch Real Housewives of Dubai ever in my life. So like, am I losing a personality that I love? No. But do I think it was a very good game move? Also no. Probably good for Rob R though, which everything seemingly is. Okay. I do want to move past this though. Let's go to like breakfast, where we had Lisa kind of recounting the face-to-face murder. Everyone recounting the face-to-face murders to get the story. We saw this last year as well when Carolyn had to describe Alan's outfit, I believe it was, to everybody, and it was a big contentious moment. But Lisa nailed it out of the park. Probably had way too long of a story when she recapped, and I feel like this was the episode that Colton maybe no, Tiffany was next to her in this one. But we have this moment, nothing really happens. I did enjoy that, like, Lisa started her story with like, it was a big maple tree. Then just like went from there.
What if Ron was just like, it was actually oak? What is she talking about?
Yeah, Jameson says Lisa did too much in that retelling. I
Well,
I
yeah.
agree. There was
She
a lot,
also-
but go
Well,
ahead.
she also said like, didn't she say like they took off her blindfold and then swung an axe or something? Why didn't Ron and
Yeah.
Kristen just like clock that?
That's a good point. Yeah, Ron didn't mention the axe, and then like Johnny Weir is over there like, Ron didn't mention the axe. That's a big detail. The axe is a big detail. He didn't mention the axe. And it's like,
And it's never brought up
okay.
again.
Yeah, so good for Lisa for bringing up multiple details, but then you have the end of the episode where Colton is like, yeah, she knows that because she watched it happen 3 times, and of course Colton says it in way more of like an annoying way that makes you just want to go, she watched it 3 times, bro. God, sorry I said the C word again, Nick Firmstone. Oh, wait, while I'm here, Nick Firmstone has done a great job at giving us stats, tying to our favorite season of Big Brother ever, Big Brother 18, which is just a recurring gag at this point. But Nick Firmstone said, relating to the Big Brother players in Traitors, that Big Brother 18's Bronte lasted 1 week longer in the house than any Big Brother player in this season of the Traitors lasted. So just so everyone is aware.
Oh my god, that's tragic. That's like really bad when you put it in that kind of a perspective.
Well, I feel like it's
Bronte
even worse.
for season 5.
I feel like it's even worse that we say Michael Rappaport has lasted longer than any Big Brother player on this season.
I don't
See,
wanna
for
think
better
about
or for
that.
worse in strategy, but we'll definitely get to talk about Tiffany for this episode.
Oh boy.
Okay, I'm gonna move past some parts. Ron said the thing about Mora with the light steps thing. This is one of 2 grand theories in this episode between Ron and Eric's. I heard a laugh, and I'm not gonna tell you who it is until it's the round table.
Oh
And spoiler
my
alert, it's Tiffany.
God.
And spoiler alert, he needs new ears. Like,
He obsesses over one song for 40 mixes, Zach. One song for 40 mixes, and you're telling me he doesn't know something about music? Please. Perfect pitch.
I don't even know what the song is.
Doesn't matter. Let's see. We see Carolyn's murder, all that stuff. Candace calls Ron unpredictable. Oh, we see Tiff mention that she thinks that this murder has Ron, Jam Jam, and Michael all over it. Oh, getting ahead of myself. But Tiffany is over 3. So
Oh,
that's a
for
great start for
3.
Tiffany. in
Can we
this
talk
episode.
about how Tiffany was 0 for 3 and Michael Rappaport was 1 for 3 and clocking that Rob Roush was a traitor?
And on top of that,
What
that Tiffany
universe am I living in?
aligned with Michael Rappaport on top of all of that, which I know we talked about plenty last week. I probably don't need to give my 2 cents on
well,
that again, but like,
I just
God.
want to say, my friends that I have that don't watch Big Brother that I like hyped Tiffany up to, when they had that scene where Tiffany was like, I think it's these 3, my friends were texting me and they're like, your girl is like not on this planet. And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. Like, I just feel like the logic wasn't even making sense either for Tiffany with that, because it was like she thought Jam Jam and Michael were both traitors, but all they were doing was arguing the whole time. So like, what, you think the two traitors are throwing each other under the bus immediately this whole goddamn time? I don't buy that. And
That's what
then
Dan and Fraser did, though.
okay, but the entire season from like the first episode,
Mhm.
I don't think so. And not a single female traitor, Tiffany. Not one girl was a traitor in Tiffany's mind, other than Donna Kelsey.
Well,
It's the
BB
NBC's trying to throw us for a loop.
BBUK, didn't they do that?
It didn't start off that way. Which season?
Wasn't there one season where it was all men that are traitors? Barrett
Season
said
2
this.
was all men, but it wasn't at first. It was the first traitor that was banished was like in the second or third episode, and then they replaced her
okay.
with a man, and then it was all men for the rest of the season.
Okay.
I
But
feel like they'll never
that's-
pick just 3 men or just 3
No.
women. Like, I feel like they mix it up when it comes to at least the gender. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like what I'm noticing this season with the Erics, with the Coltons, with even Tiffany, I feel like people get so like locked in on, I think it's this person because of this one detail. And then all of a sudden people like start to grasp for straws for it being that one person, like with Tiffany. I feel like that's what happened with her. It was like Colton came up with the thing, and then Eric got it in his head that he heard her laugh, and then it was like now everyone believes it because, well, you heard it's like everyone just like, I feel like dog piles on like one thing. We saw it the first roundtable with Portia when everyone was like, when Ron was like, I was the person that was there that heard it, right? And then other people were like, yeah, me too, I heard it too. But then Michael does the exact same thing at the round table and doesn't even catch a single vote. So it feels like they get so like tunnel visioned onto one thing because of one piece of evidence,
Yeah.
and like they just like can't get off of it until the person's banished.
No, you're bringing up a good point. I know we're getting like to the roundtable, but this is a
I
really
know, sorry.
solid. No, because I mean, what are we gonna do? Talk about the fucking mission? I don't think so. We're gonna talk about Jam Jam crying in the mission. No, I'm good.
I'm so over him, but we'll get to that.
But yeah, no, it's a good point because the whole episode really confused me for how the roundtable went, because it is very much a Ron episode, maybe slight Tiffany carrying
Yes.
over from last episode, and then as soon as Eric lays out that theory, it seems like that's what really took over after that, because there's so many people that were just writing down their vote and just be like, what Eric said, you know, about the laugh that he heard while he was in the woods, and like, I don't know. And it's also like Ron's theory is stupid too, because like there's not camera people out there. There's not just the traitors. There's not just the henchmen. What do you mean light steps? Like you don't know who you're hearing. That's so stupid. But also going back to, what was I talking about? The mission, the round table. Tiffany, Eric, and talking about the laugh. But yeah, going back to that, having so many people cite that in their votes for Tiffany, I was like shocked that they listened to that. And if maybe they were just like, I need something to pretend to latch on to, but it seemed like they were convinced by that after having a whole day of an episode saying like, you're writing down Ron, right? We're going after Ron, right? And just for it to turn into that, I mean, I'm glad the pie was on Colton's face in this regard, and that he was one of the people that did that and publicly did it, and then Jam Jam as well getting thrown into there. But it's just like, yeah, you're so right. They're grasping at things, and they have this evidence, and they have a plan. But as soon as Tiffany seems to like want to go along with that plan, being like, all right, we got Ron, we got Jam Jam, and we got Michael. Someone uses that as evidence against her, and it's like, no, she's just trying to be helpful.
Right.
But to Tiffany's discredit, she is not being the most faithful, or the most faithful looking faithful when you're saying Michael's name, but then going to have secret talks with him in the bookshelf. Like, what are you doing? Like, stop.
Crazy. I hated that scene. Yeah, I completely agree with everything you're saying, Barrett. And it's just like the evidence isn't evidence enough, in my opinion. And that's the thing. It's like Eric heard a laugh and then he thinks it's Tiffany. I hated the editing with this whole thing, by the way, since this episode, with like the editing of like, I heard a laugh and I know who it is and I'm coming for them. Commercial, not going to tell us. All episode, I heard that person's laugh, and I'm not gonna say who it is. Okay, well, are you gonna tell us? Like, I'm not there. I want to know who you're talking about. And that, like, I hated that because, like you're saying too, the way the episode was built up, it did feel like it was gonna be like a Ron swing and a miss. And then when like even like Tiffany's confessionals at like the round table when she, or I don't know if she did she have confessionals at the round table? I don't remember, but there was like moments at the round table when she was getting extremely emotional. And I don't know, like the way Candace was even speaking about her, I was like, it's gonna swing back to Ron now. Nope, of course not.
No.
So
And you even have like those moments where Candace was had a lot of confessionals about how much she didn't want to go after Tiffany, just saying like she's another
yeah,
mom, you know, I don't want to, I
Yeah.
don't, which is like Ron's also a father, so I don't really know where she's coming from with that. But like I do like I got where she was coming from in the sense that like maybe Tiffany needs the money more, or I like Tiffany more even, because she definitely wants to get out. She's definitely not getting along with Ron. Nobody getting along with Ron, and so that was another element to it too. Where she's like, I'm shocked that this ended in not even really that close of a vote, like pretty handedly towards Tiffany. It did not. I mean, I know we said it might be Tiffany in this round table. I did not expect it to be to this degree that it was. And Zach, I want to know second time seeing Tiffany Mitchell play a game. What did you think?
I mean, it's not her fault that she's surrounded by idiots. Like, I just
Oh,
can't.
sorry, I forgot about the Challenge USA.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. Challenge USA is kind of different though. She was on it twice. Um, I just, I'm just annoyed. Like, as much as she like hones in on certain things, at least she's like, I feel like the main thing that's different from like the gamers versus all of these random C or maybe F list celebrities um is they don't hone in on something like so unless it's like overtly like I saw this person like with a knife trying to kill someone like unless it's something that serious, of course they're going to be like, let's get this person out. But everyone else is literally so, oh my gosh, they literally said the word traitor, we have to get them out. Like there's no other way around it, they have to be a traitor. And that's the stupidest thing. Colton, I'm talking about Colton, you idiots, you dumb ass. Like I cannot express how much I cannot stand this man. The fact that someone says anything logical about anything in this game and he's like, they're a threat, they have to go, they have to go. And it's like, this is how faithfuls lose the game. This is how faithfuls do not win, because they get so honed in and tracked in on just one thing that is so wrong that it's just annoying to me. Because like this is why people who go onto the show are so scared to talk about strategy, because if anyone, god forbid, if anyone's smart, that's just is a target for them.
This is why the celebrities traders is so fucking stupid, I think. Because it adds like that element and the fact that they're all from different shows and in pre-existing alliances to everybody as they enter the castle. It's just like it makes every decision talking about it, especially on here, just like I could say anything, it could technically be right. It feels like sometimes in terms of strategy, because I don't know who's playing this game strategically. I don't know who's not. I don't know who's on the same page. And Zach, you got a question? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I don't know where we're going from here. Nick, I want to know more thoughts from you on Tiffany, if you have any. Like, what do you think Tiffany could have done, if you could think of one move, if anything, that would have saved herself in this game a little bit more if she
boy,
played the game again?
I feel like maybe getting in better with people outside of the gamers. Like, I think that that's, I guess, where a lot of these people are messing up. Like like you were saying, right? People come in with these like pre-existing alliances per se. So I think that where Tiffany kind of messed up was getting in good with the Marks, the Johnnies, the Taras, the
Yeah.
irrelevant ones that were kind of just there. And I feel like she kind of focused a lot on the housewives, the gamers, which is important, obviously, because I feel like those are going to be the people that are going to be like running around doing a lot of the strategizing, the talking, all of that, which is understandable. But You're gonna need the other people to not want to vote you out. So that's like where I feel like she probably could have done better, was getting better with those people. I don't know how to explain this either, but like she could have had better guesses on who the traitors were too, because I feel like it really didn't help that she's sitting there calling Michael and Jam Jam both traitors as they're yelling at each other. It's just like,
Yeah.
it wasn't making, her arguments were not making sense, and it like is so annoying because like, you guys know I love
Just
her.
say you hate her. Just say you hate her.
Absolutely not. I don't. I adore that woman to death, but I don't know. It made me disappointed because like I guess like I looked back at what I said preseason and how much I hyped her up and how I thought this would be like the perfect show for her. And I feel like I put the bar like here. It shouldn't have been here. But I feel like a lot of it was also not at her own fault too. You know, she's coming in off of a season that was dominated by Brittany Haynes and Danielle Reyes.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
people from Big
I think
Brother
it's
were
very important.
immediately going to be like, they got to go. So that's where I try to like not be like so harsh with it either, because I do feel like this season, no matter who we put on there from Big Brother, they were going to immediately be targeted. Like they just watched Danielle cry and accuse Carolyn of being a traitor while she was also a traitor. So
Yeah.
I feel like whoever from Big Brother that they were putting on was doomed. And like this is the thing with the show, because I was thinking about this too. And I know I'm getting off of what I think Tiffany could have done
This is
differently.
great. No.
But I like was thinking about this show and like other shows that are kind of like this, where they like bring in a lot of like mixed reality show people. So shows like The Challenge, shows like House of Villains, The Traitors, right? I feel like shows like that, when you see somebody like an example, a Big Brother person come in and they play very strategic and manipulative and all this stuff, that gives them like a reputation of like all Big Brother players are crackheads and they love to run around and strategize and lie and backstab and all this crazy stuff. Sure, that may or may not be true. I mean, sure, right? It's the name of the game. But I feel like that also creates this like environment where like they're gonna become targeted like that. And you know, we're going to see trends like that in the Traitors. So it was like Housewives last season because Phaedra was the housewife traitor before that. So then, you know, when they come to film season 3, everyone's like, well, it's got to be a housewife. But no, they picked people from Big Brother and Survivor. And so now this season, it's like, okay, well, they picked people from Big Brother and Survivor last season, so they got to go. And meanwhile, it's the housewives. So I feel like it's just going to be like a trend that we're going to see like different groups get targeted based off of like what they've done in the past. So that's my
So
spiel. Sorry.
we need to have so many Traitors US celebrity seasons that no one can make an accurate guess on what any season will be
Exactly.
like.
Exactly.
I don't know.
So
I don't know what the fix is. It's probably just not having
well-
celebrities.
Well, from
Maybe like maybe you don't have a bunch of people that already know each other and a bunch of people that don't. Like
I've also heard, well, not that they would do this because producers are going to produce, unfortunately, but if we want to avoid what randomize it,
What do you mean by randomize?
who the
Oh,
traitors
the
are.
traitor selection?
Yeah.
If they said like we're going to randomize it, I feel like that actually might add in another. I think they just don't want to accidentally have, you know, like we were just talking about, like an all male traitors or all
Mhm.
female traitors, and or accidentally still have.
I
Well, I
mean-
think at that point, maybe if they accidentally have randomized one show, then that's up to the traitor gods or the devil or whatever Alan worships. But so
I-
I don't hate that idea, Zach.
So like my question is, obviously we don't know. Obviously they say
Sorry.
oh, who what?
Nick just had a really good. Nick Firmstone and Chad had a really good point. Just like the random traders could also lead to just horrible television. So I think it's really hard to market.
do we have now?
What you don't have.
What do we have now?
okay, it's not horrible television. Let's relax.
I don't think it's horrible television.
It could be
Well-
worse. It could be way worse.
Oh, it could be Johnny and Tara.
It could have been
just
Michael. It could have been
high.
Michael. It could have been
I feel
Michael and
like-
Colton.
Are
I
we
feel
still
like
for
it-
sure that it's not?
Yeah.
If you want to talk about it being random, it could have been Michael and it could have been Colton. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
So
Michael,
be careful
well,
what
then-
you wish for.
Well, if Michael was a traitor and he got voted out, then he'd be known as the worst traitor ever. I feel like that'd still be good TV.
There's been people who got banished on the second table that were traitors. So. I don't know about the worst traitor ever, but
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a way. Like another thing that I think would be good is like, what if it's like, there's 4 traitors, but it's 2v2. So like it's 2 traitors against each other, and
Right.
well, then it'd be killing 2 people. That's the thing. Like there'd have to be a way where only one of them could kill, or only one group can kill someone.
You get a
So-
competition a secret competition each episode to who gets to
see,
kill.
now it's turning into
Which
into Big
traitor
Brother.
pair gets to kill
Yeah.
that night.
It's called
See, like,
And they can kill traitors. No, they were just
I
banished.
feel
don't
like
know.
the
the
But-
traitor
answer-
blockbuster.
I feel like the answer is unfortunately to not cast so many people from the same pockets of reality shows. 2
Yeah.
housewives, a Survivor person, and a Big Brother person. And I know that's like not what we want, because the Big Brother person's gonna immediately get like killed or voted out. But like, I feel like that is, if you want that, like that's what this is gonna be. Or go watch a civilian version of this somewhere, because I feel like it's unavoidable based off of how the show works. And like they tried spicing it up. They gave us a secret traitor, blew up right in their face. So I feel like they're they're open to trying new things, which I think is obviously like good, but I just don't want it to start to become so like different than what it is. I like that like this is a show where literally anybody can win. I kind of like that.
Mhm.
Like it's kind of the appeal to me, is that like you don't have to be strong and good at competitions or really smart and good at strategizing. You could literally be Ivar and you could win.
Yes.
Or you could be
That's a great
Dolores and
example.
win. You could be Gabby and win. Like you know, like I like that about this show.
I like how
That's like
the only
appeal
people
to me.
I like how the only people you picked were the random ass winners on season 3, and because
That's what I'm
people on
saying.
season 1 and season 2 actually earned the win.
Yeah.
Okay, but I like Dolores, and I was happy that she won randomly. Okay.
I think that
But-
like I compare traitors celebrity. It feels like watching Big Brother All Stars 1, but if there was like 5 season 6 alliances, you know, or it's just like
Yes.
you're never really gonna get like they're gonna work together, or they're gonna commiserate together. But I do think that like one thing I didn't really point out about Tiffany specifically, I think she talked about it, and it may be in the clip I'm about to play, where she's talking about where her and Rob C were talking about Jam Jam might be a traitor, you know? And so she got very lost in that thought too. And I saw someone saying that Tiffany wasn't going after Jam Jam. I don't think that's correct. But yeah, I thought that was another element. Like she got in her own head probably from other gamers that were in the game too, and that didn't make the edit. And so, except for her conga line hide scene with Rob, but I do want to play a little bit of this Mike Bloom interview. Mike Bloom posted with the caption, "Tiffany explains her relationship with Michael Rappaport and why she chose to work closely with him."
Now, I don't know anything about these people before I go in. And then, like I've had some people saying, trying to defend me. They're like, she didn't know these people before she went in. And it would not have mattered if I had known who he was before I went in or not, because I lost in right away. And then I lost Rob like right away. And Michael is someone who was showing me he trusted me. And that goes big in this game. There's not a lot of room for trust. And so I don't have many people I can use. I can and use in many ways, like used to be my sound piece, used to help me strategize, used to go after people, used to keep me safe, used to not vote for me. And so Michael is someone who showed me he trusted me. And it's kind of like my grandmother used to say, you got to love who love you. I got to trust who trusts me. What am I investing trust in gaming with people who think I'm sketchy or I'm a traitor? So he didn't. So I'm like, let me keep him close to me, because he's also a bigger target than me. So as long as Michael's here, I'm safe.
I think she did a good job answering that. I still don't agree with her, but
I mean,
Ooh, I
here's-
kind of like her answer a lot.
because
it's Michael Rappaport, Nick.
Look,
But I don't know who
Barrett.
that man is besides traitors.
Barrett, look, look, I'm
I
not
never heard of him before this cast. I'm just saying.
yeah, and I'm not forgiving her or anything like that. Like going into it, okay, Barrett, how about this? Well, you're pretty like not like y- you're like you like know news, so you know a lot of people. Um,
I know news.
yeah.
I just
Well, I
got yeah.
just say John Doe. You go into a season with John Doe, and you have no idea John Doe has uh z- like a whole bunch of racist and homophobic tweets or anything like that, and all of a sudden you're buddies with him. Like we're not gonna like that you're working with him, but again, you're just not gonna know because you didn't know him.
Yeah, I guess, but she also included him as part of like who she thought might be a traitor, which I don't understand with
Yeah.
what she's saying there.
Well, I was
Yeah.
thinking Trader Angel type thing.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's difficult, right? Because then you have to like really think about like, is he a traitor or is he just like everyone thinks he's a traitor type of thing? And yeah, as Mary's saying, yes, the other option was Colton, and like so as I was thinking,
Verbatim.
as Tiffany was saying that, right? She was saying that Michael trusted her. And I agree with that, right? Because the other people showed that she shouldn't have trusted them. She was trying to trust Colton, and what did he do? He ran around and told everybody
Yeah.
her theory
Good
and all
point.
this crap and threw her under the bus. Michael wasn't doing that with her.
Yeah.
And this was all behind Tiffany's back as well. She didn't know that all this was going on, but she's right in that aspect where like Michael did trust her. So
Yeah,
like
I wonder
I
what
get that.
I wonder what that gap is between her saying like you don't walk into a room and people think you're a traitor. Why would you work with them? And I don't feel like the show showed enough of that because there was like literally clips from that episode of people being like, does Tiffany even know she's getting her name brought up tonight? Like, so I just wonder what she was seeing leading up to that round table. And maybe that's more into the interview and I just haven't seen
Well,
that yet. But
Well, that's another thing too that I don't think these players understand. Mainly Colton is that like
yeah,
just because you're surprising someone at roundtable and they have no idea to defend themselves, like that doesn't mean that's not a gotcha or anything like that. If you're accusing a faithful, like they're just going to be like, why haven't you talked to me about this? Like if you really want to dissect and want to figure out who the traitors are, talk with them through the day, ask them questions, ask them some things beforehand, because that's how you get someone logically and actually strategically thinking, by dissecting what their answers are and seeing if what they are saying is corresponding with how they're acting. Because you can't just you can't just make a decision at a round table unless you're playing a stupid game where a faithfuls are going to lose because they're not actually going to catch the traitors by just getting gotcha media kind of antics, because that's just not how this game works to
Ron
win.
heard light steps, Zach. I don't know what more you could ask for.
I feel like I just had an epiphany as Zach was saying all of this.
In a Tiffany,
And
an Epiphany Mitchell.
and it's in a Tiffany I like that. So like literally Zach, you're so right though, because if I'm a faithful and I'm sitting there, right? I, to me, it's more useful if you approach me with a theory not at the round table, so I have time to actually digest what it is you're saying to me, and then also like take into account my own observations and my own stuff, right? Whereas you don't also have a limited amount of time at the round table. I think it's so frustrating to call somebody out when they only have like 15 minutes to defend themselves, and you have Eric being like, well, I heard you laugh, and then Tiffany told me this, and then now Tiffany said this, and Tiffany kicked my kitty, so we have to vote her out too. It's like they all just like dogpiled on it within that like time frame, and that's I guess what really pissed me off, was because it was like, first of all, you're catching my girl off guard, so she doesn't even know where like the shots are coming from, and they were coming from every single direction, and she didn't even know. Meanwhile, if this was handled outside of this, it probably would have fell right back onto Ron like it was prior to all of this. So I agree, Zach. And if I was a faithful and I see somebody like Colton with a C, out there like calling people out at the round table and not outside of that, to me, that's making me think Colton's a traitor. Because like, why are you like strongholding us into voting this person out now when we only have a limited amount of time to kind of like do
Yeah.
this?
That's the danger with being a faithful, and it's like so amazing that Colton being like the aggressive faithful, we talked about the Pilot Pete edit, is just going in here trying to like make as many football analogies as possible seemingly and have like that competitive edge, but he just
Like,
comes off as
what?
an asshole. And you have people like Kristen being like, I find Colton fishy, and I think it's more so just Colton and not him being a traitor. And he's just like, he's very and the things that he says that are very aggressive when coming after people are not things that I enjoy someone with his past saying to other people. And so like I look at it through that context every time he says something like that. I'm like, if only they knew. Like them sitting at breakfast and recounting his time on The Bachelor, talking to Michael about it. And I'm just like, oh fuck, none of them know. None of them know.
And also, and this is also something where we're not because we're not EW. We can actually say what the fuck the elephant is in the room. We're not talking about the fact that Colton is a homosexual, mind you. Like we could care less about that, honestly. Like you're gay. We get it. We're talking about the fact that you literally stalk someone and literally have a harassment case against you because of this. Like this is the type of person that like at least I like we can say we do not like because of this. Like and no one's addressing it because God forbid someone say something about it. But like this is the type of behavior that is not looking good because we know all of this.
Yeah. And I think it's I think it's should be pointed out that like I don't know what the cast is saying now about Colton. Like currently, I know that he's like not in chat BCC because we have to talk about that all the time and all that stuff. I know Dimmy from his season, which I did watch his Bachelor season. I feel like I said that in the cast preview, but just to say it again. So I've watched a lot of Colton on TV, or at least I saw him back in 2019 or whatever it was, and so like to see that and to see Dimmy's video about it, I think it's a great video on TikTok that Dimmy Burnett posted recounting all of that, just all of the details between Colton and Cassie from that season, and it's weird. It's very strange. He should not be. He should not be on the show. He should not be on any show. He should not be on TV. He certainly shouldn't be. I don't know. Guilt farming on TV after The Masked Singer, and like I don't know. It seems like he's done like these little. I'm gonna dip my toes in the water in reality TV just to see how people react to it. And this was like his ultimate like, I'm back. Colton is here, and I hope this is the worst decision he's ever made in his reality TV career because I hope it backfires.
That's the thing that is like. Even makes a more icky taste in my mouth is like which I was going to say this regardless, like because it's just been something that's been so annoying to me because of the fact that like I myself am gay, so like it's just annoying to see like it's all falling back to the fact like it feels like just because of his sexual orientation that excuses any wrongdoings of his past, and like it's victimizing himself in a sense, not with the Michael Rappaport thing, but I'm just talking about in general. And it's just like frustrating to me to even watch him play the game because it's like there's another layer to this that's just like it leaves an icky taste in my mouth that I just hate like seeing on my TV. And it's just frustrating, especially with the fact that like him and the edit are doubling down on the facts, sort of like propping him up in like the, oh yeah, he's doing this, playing the best game and all this stuff. And it's like, come on, like it's just frustrating, especially whenever you add Michael Rappaport to the mix and everything that he said, where, you know, obviously I don't agree with whatever he was trying to say. He'll say whatever is needed to be said, and I don't excuse it by any means, but it's just like it just like complexes everything, and it just makes the season so weird to watch. Like obviously we're still watching it, but it's just there's just so many layers on top of layers where it's just like, well, what do we do now?
Yeah, no, I agree. I really like your point, Zach. It's like it makes the show nauseating to watch when we have a roundtable where it's Michael Rappaport yelling at Colton Underwood and vice versa. And it was just such a highlight of like, what did you like between what Michael said in that roundtable and what who Colton is as a person, both being on the show. It's just like, what did you expect when you cast both of them on the show? Did you expect nobody to talk about Colton Underwood's past? Did you expect nobody to talk about Michael Rapp, or did you want them to? Is this just what you wanted to happen and have all the headlines be about Michael Rappaport and Colton Underwood? I just want to know, did they expect this to happen or did they not? Because if they
Peacock's
did,
messy.
I know they are. That's why I want to, like, I know, like, especially, that's why I think, like, for Michael Rappaport, it definitely was a case of, like, we know what we're getting into. This is what they wanted from him. With Colton, I think maybe it was less so.
Yeah. I feel like with
Maybe
Colton,
they really thought he was going to be the Bachelor pilot Pete of the season.
right. I don't really know, right? I don't know Colton at all from before this as well. Like, I don't watch The Bachelor, shockingly, or anything like that. But I did know, like, his story and, like, what went on with him. So I was very, like, why are they casting him on this when I first saw that? Just because, like, I know everything that he did. So I could see them totally, like, wanting to cast him for, like, a redemption arc type thing or something like that. And don't think it's going that way. But it's interesting, too, right? Because I feel like the, like, first batch of episodes, I feel like the reception of him was kind of good. And I feel like it's, like, kind of flipped now. And I don't know if it's just because of us all being Tiffany Mitchell fans and us being in that, like, sphere of, like, Colton and Tiffany and, like, us being Team Tiffany, right? So, like, obviously we all see the negative reaction that everyone is giving Colton. But I wonder if it's, like, people, like, outside of, like, the gaming community, if I want to call it that. But you know what I'm trying to say, right? Like, outside of, like, the people who watch, like, all of these shows, like, I wonder if the, like, perception of Colton is still bad.
I try to think. Let's just imagine this is Big Brother, and Facebook viewers are watching the Traitors.
That's what
Will
I'm
they
trying
like
to get at.
Colton?
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm trying to get at. Yes. I guess maybe I have to go to Traitors Facebook.
Yeah, maybe we should. No.
At least
We need to bring back the segment.
at least from what I'm seeing, like, well, at least like on our, I don't know.
That's what I'm. Yeah, like I guess on our end, it looks really bad, right?
Yeah.
But like, I guess I'm curious, right? Because like I'm saying too, like I know friends that like don't watch any of these shows, and they liked Colton in those first few episodes, and then me and my other friends were like, "Girl, no, like we don't like him." And then like it's been like, "Oh no, I don't like him actually." And as the episodes have gone on, it's been more like turned off by him. But I do think that they were trying to give him that like, you know, golden boy edit for like those first batch of episodes. And I guess I'm like confused on if that was like intentional with NBC. If they wanted us to try to like Colton a lot and like the reception is just kind of going opposite, or like what the goal was with that, I guess, because people were kind of predicting him to be one of the winner picks after the first batch of episodes because of how good his edit was. So it's interesting because I even saw like Janelle tweeting and her being like, "Oh, like Colton, your edit's so bad, like this, that, whatever," and like it's like, I love Janelle, thank you, but are we just thinking that because we all are like, yeah, we love Tiffany, or are like people outside of us also being like, fuck Colton? I'm just like curious to know what like.
I googled Colton Underwood Traitors just to see what the headlines were for this week, if anything mentioned anything about Colton's life as opposed to what Michael said, and what I see in front of me does not seem that way. So including one from Out Magazine, from a quote from Colton saying, "I'm tired of being a punching bag."
Girl. And like, this is what I'm trying to see, or well, get at, is that maybe this is like they're planning on making Colton look really good on the show. But we're
Well,
not
yeah.
buying it.
What was the
because we
book?
like
What was the
Tiffany.
Netflix show? What was the Masked Singer? What was all of that for? You know, what was it if not a PR
I didn't
campaign
watch
to make
any of
everyone
that.
forget that you put a tracker on your fiance's car and pretended to stalk yourself and actually stalk her and send threatening text to her brother? And I could probably keep going, but no,
I feel
he's
like-
a good faithful.
I feel like they're trying to. It feels like a martyr edit, like a I don't know what, like a sort of being like, look at what I'm doing for
Right.
the community. I'm sacrificing myself. Everyone's always coming for us,
I
and
ain't in
it's
that
just like,
community.
yeah, and it's just like we know, and it's also mixed in with the fact, which is also something that's like so interesting to me, seeing like uh bachelor community or like the Big Brother community, who literally if any of us go missing, like I would want the Big Brother community to investigate, like, because they just find everything under the sun in the
Mhm.
matter of like minutes. So you have those people being like those actual legitimate like spoiler accounts, not the spoiler they them girl queen king drag queen like accounts, but the actual accounts like being like, no, Colton is very problematic and we do not like him and all this stuff. So it's like it's interesting to see that too, where it's just like, okay, like I feel like most of the actual fans who know don't like him versus, yeah, I'm interested to see what the actual like casual view is, like what you said your friends are
Yes.
like are
Right.
seeing it, because it's an interesting edit that they're giving him, because on one hand it's just like even watching that round table, it was just so like it, it, it felt like a lot of it was cut out, because I feel like there were some things that were missing from it, like because it felt like a very like a very quick juxtaposition to juxtaposed. Yeah, it felt like it juxtaposed.
It's driving me
very-
crazy. Sorry,
Yeah.
I had a Rob Bottle flash.
Yeah, it felt like it was a very quick shift from like Michael being mad at Colton and all this stuff, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, you're gay. So I don't know.
I do, Jameson, since you pointed that out, we have a lot of Colton discourse in the chat. Carolyn dragged Colton in the chat BCC. This is news to me. Thank you, Nick Firmstone. Mary says if you watch Colton's OG season, he was very fame hungry. I haven't watched that in quite some time, so maybe I need to revisit. Colton does not deserve any platform or fame, period, says Nick Firmstone. And Colton's outfits, too, are vomit emoji. Mary says Colton played the victim, pretends to be shocked. Jameson says that is frustrating. Actions have consequences, regardless of identity. And then, oh my gosh, y'all are so good at talking about Colton with a C, Colton with a K. I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm glad we're all on board with this, at least. I'm glad us and I don't know what other people talking about Traitors are also on board with the Colton hate train. So maybe we'll get a miracle. Maybe there actually was no shields taken and Colton will be murdered in the next episode, which is another thing we have to talk about, of course. I'm glad we talked about all of this in this order, though. I like the venting as opposed to let's wait until an hour and a half to get all of our thoughts out about someone. But so where do we want to go from here? Because we'll probably come back to Colton a lot in the rest of this show. And we could talk about Jam Jam.
Yeah, I was about to say we got
Yeah.
derailed from this, and I wanted to talk about this.
Okay, so Jam Jam in this mission gets his effigy burned by Mark Ballas, Dancing with the Stars star Mark Ballas, having his shining moment in this episode.
Jam Jam!
Yeah, I liked that everyone had to just yell names, and I wish I thought it was funnier that Michael Rappaport was yelling Tara's name over and over again into the woods. But in any case, Jam Jam was the last person to have his effigy burned at the very last second of this competition, and then he started crying, which was wonderful. The gamers this season. And the next episode, I should mention, Jam Jam said, "This game's just so hard. This game's too hard." Like, what are we
Anyway.
doing? Like, I almost don't blame Tiffany for trying to get out Jam Jam, or Rob Sesternino for thinking Jam Jam might be a traitor. Jam Jam is the worst. Like, y'all, I remember we talked about Jam Jam, and you were like, I don't know why he's on. I like Carolyn more. I don't know why Jam Jam's here. I'll tell you what, after watching Jam Jam for 5 episodes, I agree with you. I agree
Thank
with you.
you.
I don't
Thanks.
I'm tired
I
of
feel
Jam Jam.
validated. Can you believe he beat Carolyn and Carolyn didn't get a single vote in Final Tribal Council? Doesn't that like blow your mind? Because it still blows my mind to this day.
It does.
Yeah.
Why
I
would
don't
anyone want to
understand.
work with Jam Jam ever, based off what I've seen from him in the
He's
first
so-
5 episodes?
Especially between like him and Karen, he's so catty. Like again, there's another way to, like, he's so petty, especially whenever he's voting for people, like in Survivor. Like he's like, if you vote for me, you go home, and all this stuff. And it's just like, okay, I get it to a certain extent, but it's also like stuff like this where it's just like you're literally crying and being like, and they're like, you said she said your name too, and then he's just like still crying about the fact that he's doesn't have his shield. Mind you, ain't nobody saying your name. Don't nobody care.
I don't know. I just think of Danielle Reyes crying. I feel like I've seen many traders cry as a defense, and I just think it's not a good idea to do it, especially when you're from Survivor in the traders.
No.
It just seems so glaringly. I don't know. It feels like you're asking for somebody to say your name at that point, which they already were. Jam Jam.
And I'm just gonna say this too. If we're gonna give Tiffany crap for thinking that Michael was a traitor, we need to give this man the same exact crap,
Oh,
because
I'm glad doing that, yeah.
like, it's like it drove me up a wall. And then like him sitting there in the round table with Tiffany, and he's like, I'll write your name down right now. And it was like, can I do that? And someone said no, and he like was like, fine. I was like, you are just so he's so I don't like him. I'm sorry. Oh my god, I feel like such an a-hole.
Because
But like, I've met him in person. He's a very nice person, but I don't like him on this show. I'm sorry, he doesn't fit this show for me. Like Nick Firmstone said, we went from Sari to Parvati to Carolyn to Jam Jam, and that's why to me Natalie is who is the Survivor rep this season. Not Jam Jam, it's Natalie. I'm sorry, Jam Jam, but I'm erasing you from the season in my mind. I honestly keep forgetting he's there too, but to my own, like, in my own way. Like, I know he's there and he's annoying me while he's there, but to me, the only gamer left is Natalie. That's it.
Yeah. You're making me think of so many things that we got lost in, like the Colton conversation. I want to go back to Colton for one more second, because you brought up the round table where Jam Jam's going after Tiffany and Colton's going after Tiffany. Can I just say one good thing about Tiffany? She fucking laid into Colton Underwood in that round table, and I was here for it.
Oh,
Colton
she
Underwood
did.
proved that he is not a good villain, even in the slightest, because he can't even argue. Like,
No,
what was that? Tiffany,
no.
he's been. Do you have one F in your name or 2 Fs? Because I'm not very
Tiffany,
smart,
like
so
the
I don't
company.
know. And like, it just felt like every time Tiffany was like, okay, say your points, and Colton would just like cower almost, and it's just like, okay, where's the confessional Colton we've been seeing? And then I just think it was so embarrassing for him. This show's
Because
so
that's-
embarrassing for him.
Because that's the type of argumenting that him and Jam Jam both are. They're confessional gangsters. They love to talk shit in the confessionals, but they can't bring it. They can't back it up whenever someone's in their face, and they can't be like that. Like, that's just, and they're just like, I think you're a traitor.
It's like Jam Jam and Chat BCC earlier this week. Like, someone saying they were rooting for, or no, it was Michael Rappaport's selfie with Tiffany, being like, I don't
Mhm.
know, better woman,
Yeah.
even, or better gamer, even better woman, whatever. And then Jam Jam's like, someone said something about supporting them in the game, and then Jam Jam quoted that and said choices, and then that got posted in Chat BCC. I can't believe I'm saying all this.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah,
then,
and
but even then, Jam Jam just was like, "I'm not arguing with you. What do you mean?
What are
I'm
you
not trying to
talking
start an
about?"
argument." It's just like, oh
Yeah.
my god. It's like, I mean, like, Tiffany did not play well, but my god, like, if you're gonna argue with her, argue with her.
exactly.
Um,
That's you can't expect
don't throw rocks in glass houses or whatever the
Yeah.
saying is, because that annoys the hell out of me. If you're gonna pick a fight with Tiffany Mitchell of all people, you better be ready to sit there and take that argument or learn how
And
to
neither of
handle
them
it.
could.
Yeah.
And
No,
that's
neither
why
of them could.
Way to tie it
And-
back, Zach. Keep going.
Oh no, that's it's just so annoying to me. Then not only that, like after playing a Traitors game, not the actual Traitors game, like I wasn't on the cast, but I'm playing a Traitors. I'm playing a
Please,
playing a
I
playing a Traitors
can't.
simulated game with other people. The biggest thing whenever playing it is like you have to be able to work with your other faithfuls. Like that's the biggest thing is being like teamwork in general, because like being able to have these conversations and everything like that. And the thing that annoys me most about Jam Jam is he's not able to have those conversations because like I can understand if you don't like Michael Rappaport, then just own that. Like say I am voting for Michael Rappaport because I cannot stand him, but the fact that he was just saying I am voting for Michael Rappaport because he's a traitor and not giving reason as to why you think that, besides the fact that you don't like him, that's just making the game personal. And I understand getting someone out because they're not being conductive for the faithfuls to try to win, but it's just the fact that he's trying to hide his personal biases and trying to mix it with game logic whenever it's just because you don't like him. Just say it. But he won't say that because he's just like, I think you're a traitor. And it's just like, why? Give us why.
You're
And
hunting
it's like,
for the traitors too hard, I think. I'm a little
and
tired
it's like,
of it.
mind you, this is not a Michael. We do not like Michael here. I do not like Michael. Like I
No.
am glad that he's gone. But if you're going to say that Michael's a traitor, such as Tiffany is as well, but Tiffany gave points where you're not giving points, but people's not saying anything about you because you're literally just here not doing anything.
Mm.
It annoys me and it annoys all of us.
Yeah. No one likes someone who's being way too quiet in this game. And you're bringing me Dan Giesling flashbacks. Well, he was a traitor,
Yeah.
but even more so to not be quiet. Like so stupid. Okay.
Other Big Brother player.
I like what y'all are saying in chat as well. Colton with the K says Big D would have a better argument than Colton with the C. Colton and Jam Jam are professional victim players, says Nick Firmstone. And then Nick Firmstone said Jam Jam would break the glass house and then immediately cry and play victim. That's what it seemed I saw this week. All right.
I like how Nick said Jam Jam just goes after whoever targets him. Like that's
Oh,
not
yeah.
how this game works.
And
that's
that's all that Jam Jam's
exactly-
game has been
that's
so far.
it. Oh, thank you, Nick Firmstone, because that's what I've been trying to say, and that's I guess what like annoys the crap out of me was like he was never even after Tiffany until he heard Tiffany was after him, and then he's like, "Well, you're a traitor too, girl, and I don't like you neither." And it's like, well, where did all of this come from? Just because she thinks you are? Like that's not
Yeah.
how that works.
Michael
This
Young,
isn't
Jam Jam's a
Survivor.
traitor. No, I think you're a traitor. No, I think you're a traitor.
Right.
No, I think you're a traitor. What the fuck are we doing? Like,
it doesn't
What is
do
this?
anything. It does nothing. And if I was in the game, I would think he was a traitor if he was acting like that too. Because like, what do you mean? Like, this isn't Survivor where we're just trying to vote each other out. Like, there's so much more depth to this than that.
yeah, this game should be so far beyond the "nuh-uh, you are" portion. You know?
Exactly. Like, what are we doing?
And okay, we talked about Jam Jam. We talked about that crazy round table with. We didn't really talk about like the light steps portion with Ron bringing that up. Did I have any notes for really all of
Another one who's
that?
on my damn last nerve. Like, don't even get me started about Ron. I can't
Yeah.
stand him either.
Also,
And I
if
feel
we're
like
talking-
everyone is giving him too much grace. Sorry. Go
Yeah,
ahead, Zach.
I'll recap the Ron stitch in a second.
Well, I was just gonna say, if we're talking about life steps, I would say Lisa over anyone else. She's the most petite.
Thank you. I have been waiting to go off about this for forever, and you just said exactly what I was gonna say. So thank you.
I'm gonna lay it all out just to set the scene for Ron Funches in case we all forgot how last episode. Oh, I had these pics of the round table. I could have had this entire time. Sorry, y'all. I forgot I made that. But going back to Ron Funches, we had Ron potentially up for murder in episode 3, the face-to-face one. But then we have this theory about Moira. Ron was obviously the leader on the Portia vote, or brought up the evidence, was in the room with Portia, said all that stuff, and Portia got voted out because of it. Everyone's ready to go Ron in this episode, it seems, especially Moira. Moira literally has a chant where she's like, "Get Ron out, get Ron out." And then Natalie has this moment where she looks Ron in the eye in episode 4, where she says, "Are you a traitor or a faithful?" And then Tiffany says, "Natalie, what is that supposed
What the hell
to
are
do?"
you doing? What?
I
was
love
great.
that moment so much. That made me genuinely cackle because I always say the same thing to myself. I'm like, girl, like, do we really think the traitor's gonna be like, I'm a traitor? Like, it's not gonna work. Like,
It's like whenever you say, I thought she was gonna say, "Look into my eye and say apple pie" or something. Like, have y'all heard of that before?
no.
Whatever you like, if you're not lying to some, or if you tell someone,
It's
just
like
look
Big
into
Brother
my
16.
eye and say apple pie, and if they don't laugh, then they're telling the truth. Like, they're being
If
truthful.
they don't laugh, they're on Team America, and they've got to make a play.
Yeah. y'all have never heard of that before?
No.
Oh.
No, maybe we. No, I haven't. I'm sorry. Do we need to?
Just no.
Zach, I don't have time for this.
Chat. Let me know if y'all have heard this before. Don't make me think I'm crazy.
I do want to redo that scene, but where Natalie just yells apple pie in Ron's face instead. Natalie, what is that supposed to do? But Ron, the 5th episode, what notes do I have on Ron? Ron says his guesses were Michael and Dorinda. That's what it was. So Ron has his theory about Michael and Dorinda being defensive about Michael. And there's like this weird moment where Lisa goes, "I'm going to go Ron." And Kristen goes, "Why?" And Lisa just goes, And I was like, oh no, why did they include that? Ron has the Michael and Dorinda guesses. We get to that round table. There's a bit of Ron arguing with Dorinda. Other people wanted to argue with Ron. What else do we have from this round table? Oh wait, I have Chip's note. It's hard. This game is so hard.
So hard.
Anyway.
Oh my god, I've had to do nothing. So hard.
In any case, the Ron Funch's banishment is inevitable, it feels like at this point. And he's taking a very defensive take with all of this, especially in the round table. It seems like he is not getting along with anyone. There's almost been times where I'm like, is there something going on outside of this that I don't know about that is creeping into this edit, because he's so combative with everybody? But I also would understand it to a degree, you know, if he just felt like he wasn't fitting in and just wanted to just be like, fuck this, I'm over it. Stop trying to ask about my family. I don't want to talk about them. I want playing a game. Stop doing this. I don't think you even liked me in the first place. So I want to know y'all's thoughts. What are your thoughts on Ron Funches right now? I feel like there's a lot going on, and I'm almost shocked he's still here.
I cannot stand him. I mean, I was saying to Barrett before we went live that my bottom two at the moment are Colton and Ron. Now that Michael is out of there, you know, Ron has now taken the bottom two spot from Michael.
Okay.
Ron, I feel like, is personally attacking me by going after every single person I like in this entire cast. And quite frankly, I'm over it. And, you know, it starts with the Portia stuff. I feel like, you know, if you know Portia, like, you know, like, that's just how, like, she is. But I get it. A lot of these people didn't know Portia. I feel like the Portia stuff I can excuse, right? My problem is Ron has now accused so many people of being traitors and has been wrong multiple times. So I am sick and tired of going online and seeing people being like, oh my God, I feel so bad for him. Like, everyone's just like, they don't like him because he was wrong about Portia. Like, so what? He was wrong about Portia. He was wrong about Tiffany. He was wrong about Michael. I don't even think he
Moira.
voted for, he was wrong about Moira.
Dorinda.
Dorinda. I don't even think he voted for Donna. Did he? Because he
No, I
was
don't think
defending
so.
Donna. So,
He
like,
was the only defender of Donna, pretty much.
he
or what they
looks
showed.
sketch as hell, in my opinion. And he has a new theory every single day. And every single day, I'm 90% sure that it's Dorinda. I'm 90% sure that it's Moira. I'm 90% sure that it's Portia. It's like, You're wrong every single time. That is why people are upset with you, because you are loud and wrong over and over and over again, and it drives me up a wall because I think
Hot Rod. Sorry.
Oh no, he voted Donna. He did vote Donna.
okay, so he
Okay.
did vote for
Good job,
Donna.
Ron.
Yeah, but he was also like defending her for like the whole time that everyone else was accusing her up until that round table. So I don't even count it. It's just like he's playing really bad in my opinion. And I think that Colton deserves way more crap, obviously, because of all the crap that he's done in his life for everything that he gets. But I think that Colton deserves the same type of like treatment that Ron gets, and that annoys the crap out of me that like they like are weird with Ron, but they're not weird with Colton.
Mm.
Especially after Colton was extremely loud and wrong about the whole Tiffany situation. I expected him to be walking in there the next day just like Ron was when no one cared when he walked into breakfast, because Colton looked sketch as hell. So I think that the two of them look weird and shady, but I definitely understand why people in the house are like sketched by Ron, why they think Ron's a traitor. Like, I think that like he deserves to be voted out. Like, I'm sorry. And I'm over him. I want him to
Probably,
go.
yeah.
I'm tired of him coming for my girls. Like, he gotta go. It's like, really, you're gonna pick Moira and Dorinda, like the last two remaining women that I'm rooting for. It's like, outside of Lisa and Candace. I don't know. Sorry, I say this, but like, I feel
okay.
like every single person I've liked coming into the show, Ron has actively targeted. And it's just made me not like him because it feels personal.
People like Colton great social game on his part, says Mary. You see, it's interesting you say that, because every time I see him speak, I'm like, I don't even think if I didn't know him, I would even like him in this moment. He just seems
Yeah.
so
He hasn't even said
off.
anything. Yeah, he's
Or
just
like Christian said, fishy. Like, I think that's
Yeah.
great way to describe Colton when he talks to
Yeah.
people about his theories.
Fishy is
And
definitely, because it's like, oh, everyone else is allowed. Like, so Tiffany can't like, you know, strategize and do all of this, but you could strategize behind her back to concoct votes to get her out. But it's sketch that Tiffany wanted to do that, but you just did the exact same thing. And like, that's where I'm like not understanding like why people are not seeing like, oh, like Colton is a sketchball. I guess we saw a little bit of it in the end of the episode. I don't want to jump all the way there, but like, you know, so I don't know. I think that Colton and Ron deserve the same treatment, is what I'm trying to get
Yeah.
at. I think that they both suck and they both should not be in the game anymore.
yeah.
And
I'm glad you clarified everything before saying that sentence out of context, but so I agree with you though. They are both very, very wrong about who they are taking shots at. And unfortunately, I worry that Colton is going to get back on track with people by going after Lisa Rinna in episode 6 or 7, you know? So unless he gets murdered, which would be the biggest shock of my life if he, because they were just so pointed at the end of episode 5, which I'm skipping another roundtable, and we haven't even talked about Monet yet. But like, I just don't understand why they would include that in the edit so much if he was gonna actually be murdered. And unfortunately, with the show again, I have to be like, or is that what they want me to think? Do they want me to think that they're making it obvious that he won't and then he will, or the other way around? But I'm gonna go with whatever my instinct was, is that someone took a shield, because why wouldn't they, right?
I'm just wondering. I'm thinking like, what if thinking about if they're gonna think that Colton's a traitor. Like, he's like, he just says 29 years. People have thought I've been lying. So you think I'm gonna be a traitor? I'm always gonna get this stigma of being a traitor.
Chop.
Yeah. No. This season. Okay, I need to take a deep breath. We're gonna reset for a second.
I know. I lost where we were. I'm sorry. You asked
it's
me
okay.
on Ron. And that's
this is
where
what
it
happens
got
when
us
we get very passionate about our shows that we watch and have to sit with
Exactly.
our opinions for 3 days waiting. So okay. Let me see if I have any clips to show so we can break this up a little bit more, because I did come here with a lot of, or at least a few clips. I'll get off of that. I do have this clip of Ian Terry on God 101.
Who got murdered. He was a faithful who got murdered on Traitors. And he was.
Sorry.
I love it.
Julie gets it sometimes.
Julie talking about the traitors while Jeff Probst being mad that his players do the traitors is really funny to me. So
Was it y'all? Was it y'all that sent me that whenever Taylor and Kylan were both on the God 101 podcast, and Kylan's computer was frozen, and then Julie was just like, "God, can we please pray over Kylan and get his reception back and
No
be
way.
able to join us again on this?" Y'all haven't seen that?
I have not seen. I don't tap into God 101, believe it or
Okay,
not. I also don't follow
I'm-
Julie or anybody.
Barrett, I'm so disappointed in you because you showed us that clip in the Amazing Race finale podcast
What clip?
that Zack is talking about.
The Kylan clip?
Yes.
Where
we
Julie
watched that on the
prayed over his-
podcast. Yes.
Yes.
We literally watched that in the podcast.
Don't remember. I got the memory of a Moira Higgins.
Oh my god, apparently. I didn't know Moira was here with us.
Someone find that clip, I guess. I don't know. Or not now. I mean, like the clip of the podcast.
God.
Someone's got to prove to me that I watched this, but I don't know. Yeah, don't remember Michael yelling about it, or I don't remember Candace yelling about that she wanted to kill a housewife or something. Whatever it was that Moira forgot. Okay. Nobody remembers this, by the way, in chat. Just saying. So, unless everyone got a collective foggy memory. I
Maybe
do
I'm
have this
just
clip.
Good.
Whatever. A clip I do have is of Eric's ear theory. The theory emphasis
Oh,
on the
God.
ear.
I gave a plea to the traitors. If you're a traitor, you heard my plea. I said, if you murder me tonight, I hope that my ghost and the ghost of all the other faithfuls haunt you for the rest of your life. Laugh.
Oh, wait. Sorry. I had the big line.
A laugh.
Eric heard a laugh. Before I get flagged.
Was you, Tiffany.
I would react like that too if someone just said,
Me
I heard
too.
you laugh last night
Oh.
behind the tree.
Me too. Because you know what's going through her mind right there? I'm cooked. Like she
Yeah.
knew. I think that the second he said that, Tiffany was like, there it is. Like, I'm done.
Jameson saying this is a weak theory is an understatement. This is
Yeah.
absurd. And so the fact that this and Ron saying, I heard light steps was the big evidence of the round table. And this ended in Tiffany's. It's so lame. Like, it's kind of
Lame.
campy that is what sent Tiffany out. But like, I agree. Like her facial expression here is just like Eric Nam has not said a word at these roundtables until now, and it's to me. Well, he probably has. I think when Michael was like, "We murdered," he said he got on him for that. But like,
Yeah.
still, Eric's having his first big theory, and it's to me. Great.
It
But-
was so. I hated the buildup with this, I guess, in my opinion. Like, I hated the whole, like, he comes into breakfast and was like, I heard a laugh. They don't say who it is. Later on in the in like the mission or something, he mentions in his confessional, I heard that laugh and I'm gonna bring that up later and I'm gonna bury somebody at this round table. But like, okay, I am in the audience. I'm not gonna go tell whoever it is. Like, why can't you tell me who it is that you're planning on throwing under the bus, Mr. Editors? I hated that. And it was just like all of this build up. And I honestly thought too for a while, like I was saying before, my thought process was like it was gonna be Ron and that it was gonna pick up on Tiffany, but it was gonna swing back to Ron. So I thought Eric was going to say that it was Ron or somebody else, and it was going to cause all of this thing where Tiffany was going to end up staying. And then when he said Tiffany, I was like, great, she's done. Like, I pretty much was just like, that was it. Like, because like you're saying too, Eric doesn't speak much at these roundtables. So to be like, I heard Tiffany laughing behind the tree last night. It's like, Eric doesn't speak, so if Eric's got something to say, I kind of got to believe it. Like,
I mean, Rob R
Awful.
said the man has perfect pitch when he put down Tiffany's
Unfortunately,
name.
we should.
stupid.
Unfortunately, you shouldn't speak much.
Okay. But yeah, I felt like we needed to at least watch that moment. Okay. I don't think there's anything else from episode 4 I even want to point out. Let's only
I
stick
like it.
episode.
I have to vote. I have to vote with him because I like his songs.
Have to. You have to. Okay. Episode 5, Kristen brings up something fishy about Colton, making me real excited. Thank you, Kristen, for not getting murdered face to face. Monet is murdered though, and we have to deal with that information. The people that were up for murder, I never even said. I'm very sorry about that. The people up for murder after episode 4 were Ron, Tiffany, Monet, Michael, and Tara. Monet was the one chosen. I wasn't shocked in the least after who we had seen murdered already in this season. I was like, this was not shocking. The only thing it made me think of is I think Mary sent in the chat last week, like, just waiting for the next 3 episodes when we lose Tiffany, Monet, all these people that we love. And I was like, please. And you were kind of right. Mary, I think that was you. If it was someone else, please let me know. But yeah, this is soul crushing, faithful crushing. I really wanted to see Monet play this game. We talked about Monet as the better version of Bob the Drag Queen in terms of representation of RuPaul's Drag Race, and the fact that she is Bob the Drag Queen's best friend and podcast co-host, was even better. And I don't know, being such a big Survivor fan, a big reality TV fan, I just thought that this was. We dreamed of Monet and Natalie at the end together as two faithfuls potentially winning this game, and of course that's over by episode 5. But Mary, it was you. Wow, thanks a lot. But I don't know what else to say right now. I'm gonna pull up exit interviews other than I'm not shocked and so fucking disappointed. Nick, how disappointed were you in this?
I am extremely disappointed. I mean, I kind of saw it coming after what transpired in the mission when Monet was, talking to Candace about how he thought that Lisa was a traitor. So it kind of was
note.
like
a good note to make.
Yeah, I feel like it was pretty, like it was gonna happen. Like I kind of knew it was gonna happen. I was upset it was gonna happen, of course. But I do think that they're just taking out like the smartest faithful after faithful after faithful. I love Monet. I was very upset to see her go so early because I feel like she had so much more potential. And I watched her like exit interview that she did with Rob C. And she talked about how she did tell Natalie that she thought Lisa was a traitor as well. So I'm hoping that comes into play. Maybe at some point Natalie starts getting a little suspicious of Lisa. Maybe if that actually did happen. I don't know. I know a lot of these exit interviews are like, yeah, I said that. And it's easier for you to say that 8 months later than it is, right after you leave the castle. But yeah, very upset to see Monet go.
Zach, what did you think of this murder?
I jinxed it. Then again, I did change my mind. I said it wasn't. I said no. I don't want it to be Monet. I want it to be, yeah.
The chat is done with you, Zach, for this jinx that you have placed.
No, I heard someone like a cat or something.
Oh, that was from you? That's cool.
No, like I heard a cat from here.
No, I heard it too. I didn't realize that was coming from like behind you.
No, it wasn't coming from me.
Oh wait, who did it? Nick, was it your cat?
It might have been. I don't know. I have AirPods in, so I'm not hearing what's going on.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. Mind you, I changed it. I changed it to someone else other than Monet because I did not want it to happen, but it did. I guess the traders thought I was doing a good job. So,
yep.
Quite unfortunate. I didn't want it to happen. I thought that. Okay, are their pronouns he, him, or
either?
Yeah, it's either or.
Oh, okay.
When he's out of drag, he's he, him, but when he's in drag, he's she, her. So it's just, it's just whatever.
Okay. Well, I thought that they were gonna go pretty far. Honestly, I honestly wanted him and Natalie to be the winners, but Rob R is gonna Rob R. So It is what
Well,
it
maybe
is.
we should Nick, I'm glad you brought up that point about like bringing up housewives from Monet, because I completely skipped over that portion in terms of their strategy for even getting rid of Monet. But it adds to the whenever they bring up that point in the turret, that's when I'm like, okay, well, they have decided. Like, it has not been a
Mhm.
guessing game like it typically is for me. Um because I don't know, their pattern was pretty obvious from the outset who they would like to choose. And I don't know if I should blame Donna Kelsey for giving them that pattern or not. I don't know. I don't know how much credit to give Donna Kelsey, but maybe we should talk about Rob R. and the Housewives, specifically Candace Dillard Bassett and Lisa Rinna for a second, because we haven't really talked about them yet as traitors. 5 episodes in, mainly because we haven't had to. They haven't really gotten in that much trouble. We've had a lot more faithful stupidity to go over, or smoke screening. But I do want to gauge where y'all are at with the traitors right now. As of course we end this episode after the Michael banishment, which we can get into later or not. It's honestly kind of like when Johnny Ware was like, I don't care what you are, I just want you out of my castle. It almost is a waste of a breath for me to talk about where Michael Rappaport went wrong and what led to his demise.
Yeah.
But at the end of that episode, we do see Colton coming after Lisa Rinna a little bit, saying she's over the top. She definitely knew about the face-to-face murder because she saw it happen 3 times. What do you think of their dynamic? What do we think of their position in the game? And do we have any further thoughts or, like, I guess, feelings about their longevity in the game versus a week ago? Zach, I feel like I've been skipping out on you for go first on these sorts of discussions. So what do you think about the traders and their turreting so far?
I'm not. I mean, obviously, they have yet to be caught so far. I mean, fingers
Minus
crossed.
Donna. Rip.
Yeah, minus Donna. I guess I really can't I can't really criticize them too much besides what Nick brought up with the fact of taking out Carolyn, someone who wasn't going to go after the housewives, but
Right.
I mean, taking out Rob C, taking out Ian, uh, taking out Monet, I feel like those were good moves for them to do because Rob C would have eventually caught on to them. And then Ian, especially, I wish I would have kept him because I feel like as much as I like Ian, I don't think his reads are the best, at least from what we saw from All Stars. But their turrets have been, I feel like they've been pretty straightforward. I also feel
Yeah,
like
weirdly.
Rob R is just getting his way every single time. So
He is.
and
If he
I
was
don't
not, there would not be 2 dead housewives, you know?
exactly.
I don't think so.
I'm not knocking him for it either because obviously I feel like him and Lisa, from what we see, Lisa commenting on all of Rob R's stuff on Instagram and him inviting her to come to the snake ranch and stuff. I mean, if they're working well together, then go ahead by all means. I would not be surprised if we see it. I feel like if any of them, Candace would be the one to get caught first, just in general, because Candace has been a little the messiest out of them. But I feel like this is the least argumentative that a group of traders have been. I feel like they just go with it, go with whatever. I feel like Lisa and Candace are just like, "Ee," and then Rob R is just like, yeah, and that's it.
Nick, what do you think about the turret 5 episodes of?
I mean, they're what's keeping me glued to the TV. I'm not gonna lie. I'm standing the traitors.
Why? Huh?
I mean,
Do you like them?
Yeah, I mean, do you see what Rob looks like? I mean, I kind of
I feel like
can't
Johnny
help
said. What did
myself.
Johnny say this week? I can't even look at him.
I have never related so hard to somebody on TV before. I'm just saying. No, but all jokes aside, I think that Rob R is playing a masterful game. I don't think he's running the turret. I don't see that. I mean, I don't know why you guys think that he's the one that wants the housewives murdered or whatever. I feel like that's Lisa and Candace is doing, not Rob's doing.
Probably a little
And
bit
I
Rob's doing.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't remember like their turret talks too much, but it doesn't seem like to me like Rob is the one that's like the reins of the turret, in my opinion. But
But after last season, do you think Lisa Rinna and Candace Diller Bassett, even if Rob Roush was out of the room, would just be like, let's throw people off the scent and kill our friends? I just don't think that would happen 2
I
seasons in
mean,
a row.
Lisa just voted Portia out, so like, yeah, I do.
Mm.
Like, I don't know. I feel like I feel like we haven't seen anything that makes it look like Rob is telling Candace and Lisa what to do. So, I mean, I think Rob is playing better than Lisa and Candace because I think he's not. I think Rob is so nonchalant that no one's ever going to even look at him. And that's obviously to his benefit because people know that Lisa and Candace are housewives too. Whereas like Love Island doesn't have, I feel like the benefit that Rob has coming into this too is like Love Island doesn't have a reputation on the traitors like housewives do, the gamers do, the irrelevant people kind of do as just being there. But like Love Island
Yeah.
people kind of fall in the middle, in my opinion, where like they do come from a competitive reality show, but they're also not like they've not had somebody in the turret yet. So don't give me that look, Zach. Love Island has vote offs. Love Island has competitions. They have challenges. Like Love Island is competitive. So there's a lot to Love Island's than like I feel like people don't.
Then I don't.
Consider.
Okay, then I don't know why you're like shutting down Rob R. potentially pushing to get rid of the housewives. Like I think you're underestimating him in the way that other people are underestimating him. He knows the word commiserate, Nick City.
I know he
He's
knows
not
the word
doing-
commiserate. He's my stan. Like I
He knows how
want
to play
Rob to
chess.
win. I know. I want Rob to win the game. Okay. I really want. Rob is my winner pick. I've said this. I feel like Rob is gonna win the game. I love him and I love Lisa together too. I do think that Candace is the one that's gonna get clocked out of the three, but
Okay.
I really do think that Rob is playing really well, and I think it's because he's so nonchalant as a person. He's so like, sure, whatever, dude, but like, really, there's so much more there to him than that. So yeah, that's my opinions on the
Yeah.
traitors. I love Rob. That's my man.
I agree. I think Rob is the strongest traitor. I think with this Lisa Rinna talk going into the episode that Alan Cummings says has the best round table of the world has ever seen, apparently.
Oh,
I
yeah.
do wonder what if that leads to a Lisa Rinna boot potentially, or maybe Lisa Rinna gets her way out of it, or maybe we just see Lisa Rinna show up to the round table, which could be fun in and of itself. But yeah, I'm really I would love to lay out like let's go over what trouble we've seen from each traitor so far, what the show has really given us. Obviously, it's hard to paint a picture in an edited show all the time. But with Candace, we have seen her that first 2 episodes, whatever episode that fell into, her mentioning the thing to Portia and Moira in the vehicle. And we've seen Candace be a little bit more vocal at the roundtables. Lisa Rinna has only really gotten into trouble in this last episode or two, what they've shown us anyway. So, Rob R., have y'all seen anything that would lead you to believe that someone is going to go after Rob Roush in this next episode at all? Because I don't think I've seen any clips,
Absolutely fucking
confessionals, and like maybe I'm missing someone. But I would love to be reminded. But it's very interesting that they haven't included anything. And it's just like, how do we say anything other than he's going to get to the end and be like a sole trader win potentially, or at least get to the end, you know? Maybe we can worry about if he gets to steal the money or not. But it seems so like clearly that's what they're trying to show us right now.
I was gonna say I see Rob and Moira in the end together, and Rob
and Moira.
Rob being
because
the winner.
We don't have no reason to believe that. We had them in the first episode with Moira being like, not only their little moment in front of the castle where she's like, I didn't expect you to be here, but also later on when she was like, I just don't know how anyone acts because I don't know them from their shows except for Rob, which is like, why did they include that? Was it just to be funny, or was it to be down the line? It could be either one, but
yeah, she had that line too where she's like, "Oh, like you better have my back," and he's like, "We'll see."
Yeah,
like just so like whatever. Like that's why he's so good. He's just like whatever. But he's not
He's
whatever.
okay. Yeah,
You're just mad. Whiny gamer fan. Whatever.
You're literally the same type of person, so don't even come for me. What do you have a podcast over? Oh yeah.
The Traitors. We're gonna talk about Shark Tank soon.
Maybe.
Enough, don't worry.
Exactly.
I did have Rob's big moment. Where was it? I had it clipped out. Oh, here it is. We haven't seen a ton of vocal Rob Roush yet this season, but we did see in the roundtable for episode 5 and Michael's banishment when Michael kept bringing up the word commiserate, which I don't doubt any of you haven't seen this clip at this point, but Rob got a little bit tired of Michael's use of the word commiserate.
Commiseration means to feel sorry for someone.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
I like how Michael instantly said, "No, it doesn't." So it's like, this is another person who just doesn't understand me and the words that I use and what they mean when I say them.
It's so funny to me. I love it. I absolutely just like love Rob. Like there's no notes for me with him. None.
So far. Yeah, he reminds me, I haven't seen many Trader seasons. So one, I would always love for people to recommend. Nick has been very hardcore about recommending Traders Canada to me as of late. So, but one season I have seen is
Traders Canada's so good. Sorry.
Is Traders UK season 2 with, I don't know if people don't like spoilers, but there is someone on that season that reminds me of Rob R, but in a different way. This guy was a bit like, he was able to mask it with like his kindness and like he's just like very young and helpful or like innocent, where I think Rob does a very good job at doing that mask, but in a I'm just here on a TV show way. And he's so good at doing that in the turret too, like you were talking about when you pretended that he wasn't throwing out housewives' names to people. But he's able to do that so nonchalantly, and I just think that's so powerful. And it seems like he does it as a superpower between, like, it's like he doesn't see the cameras and he doesn't see everything going on around him that everyone else does. I don't know. It's very interesting to watch him. His personality play in this game, which is like, to us, it almost should be like he's had such a different personality that it should be obvious to everyone how he's a traitor. But no.
But no,
it's like
exactly.
In the midst of that castle, he can sneak through and be so nonchalant that nobody would ever know. And I can't wait for everyone to find out that he's a traitor. Like, would that not be the most insane thing? And I've seen traitor seasons, to not give Rob R too much credit, I have seen traitor seasons where it's like, this person's not getting mentioned, this person's not getting mentioned, and all it takes is like that one person to be like, wait, we haven't mentioned this person once, and they're like, and then it's like they click and it's like, wait, they would be a perfect traitor. And it's like, I don't know if that everyone just says that, kind of like how Michael Rappaport yells out every name possible until one sticks, but I could see that potentially for Rob R, and I think it would be funny if like Natalie Anderson was someone to figure that out and just be like, oh wait,
stop, that would be really good. Really good. Well, first of all, I need to acknowledge I need to acknowledge my friend Kilby in the Twitch chat. I know that the YouTube chat can't see him. Hello, Kilby. Everything is better in Canada. I do agree. Traders Canada, Big Brother Canada, everything Canadians always seems to be better, including Kilby. So I just wanted to say hello. But all that being said, I kind of see that with Lisa, where like that's gonna happen to Lisa, where eventually it just kind of like we saw where it took Colton being like, Dorinda, like, you know her, like, is Lisa like this? And then she's like, no, actually, you're right. And like, I feel like
was that?
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I feel like is gonna end up happening to Lisa eventually, is like, we literally, all three of us picked Lisa as one of our I think all three of us picked Lisa as one of our traitor picks.
Yeah, we did.
And the two of you guys don't even watch Housewives. Like, hello. I feel like it takes like, oh, duh. Like, let's all just vote Lisa out. Like, and that's all it takes eventually. So I'm kind of scared of that thing happening, but with her more than I am with Rob. So, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if, I don't know. I wonder if it would be beneficial for like someone like Candace, if she does hear someone calling out Lisa's name, to just go ahead and, vote her out. Because I saw someone bring
Right.
up, like, Rabar is very kind to Lisa for bringing up that information that Colton brought up, because easily we've seen traders in the past just not bring up that information that they heard about someone going after another trader. So the fact that he brought that up, I thought was really interesting, and like, I don't know, a bit fresh for someone who is traitorous, but also like, I don't know, playing the social game with the traders, which I know goes back to just, it's a very agreeable turret, it seems like right now. Or at least not enough arguing and backstabbing between the three of them themselves. So maybe I
And
lost where I was going with all of
think
that. But
that's sorry. You reminded me of a thought that you saying that reminded me of something that I got lost before. I feel like this is like the first season that we've seen in a long time where the traders are loyal to each other, and like even having Rob tell Lisa like this was going on, just so you know, like and like Candace even like telling Lisa like this is what's going on. So I feel like we've not seen that in the past, and it's more so like, oh, like you're after Danielle, me too, but I'm not gonna tell Danielle. Like, and like you're after Carolyn, I'm not gonna tell Carol. Like all of that kind of stuff. But like I feel like this season it's more so like they come into the turret, they give all the information that they have for each other, and then it's kind of predictable of who they're gonna kill at that point, which is what we're saying. But yeah,
yeah, I do wonder if like maybe we see a Lisa Rinna banishment in the next episode, if if things really got
that'd be
crazy, and so then we have a recruitment potential. And then I was one, like, I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, if like Dorinda got recruited, or maybe like we could see an angle like where if Dorinda got recruited, they've already got one housewife confirmed as a traitor. Maybe at that point they don't think any other housewives are traitors, because that's 3 housewives gone at that point.
Yeah.
But if they do, maybe they go after Candace next, because Dorinda seems like a faithful. Well, I don't know if Dorinda can make it through that. How long? If Dorinda could last longer than Candace could in the battle for which housewife is going to be the last banished. But I could see an angle where whoever escapes that makes it to the end as well. With the
I can see them
housewives
go-
win potentially with Rabar or by themselves. Or
I can see them
I'd
going
love
for
to talk about
Natalie
these.
though.
Yeah, Natalie should be scared. Natalie needs to say as many names as possible.
Well, I meant getting what's it called? Getting recruited.
Oh, recruited. I think we
I can
talked about that last week too. That'd be so fun.
Yeah. I mean, like I can definitely see them wanting to recruit Natalie. I can also see them wanting to murder Natalie really soon. So like, kind of hoping it's not that one, because we're sitting here saying they're murdering all of the smartest faithfuls. Well, girl, it's looking like there's not that many left. So I don't know. I'm a little nervous for her. I really am. Just because like they are killing off all of the gamers, and I feel like that's been like their strategy in a way. So I'm kind of nervous for her more than I'm looking forward to her being recruited, if anything. Although I would want it to happen, but I don't know.
I'm gonna catch up on chat real quick. I feel like I've been missing a lot.
Oh yeah. Also, speaking of chat, thank you, Kilby, for the Twitch Prime.
Oh,
Say that.
go off, Kilby. Yeah, y'all are seeing like a parallel universe in the StreamYard chat right now, probably. So I see people asking about Steven. We haven't really talked about Steven yet, mainly because there's nothing much to talk about. Like Steven has, I can't remember who he was. I did finally hear him say a name, or like at least get into a discussion in one scene. Of course, I don't have the note with me, but I at least made a note in my head. It's like, okay, Steven is talking to people and they're showing it in the show. Thank God. So I was happy for that. Steven otherwise just seems like a faithful that, unless he really wants to go after anyone, is just going to be silently murdered soon, in my mind. Like, that's how I always think of, at least right now, the faithfuls. Well, no, actually, no. Never mind. I'm taking that back. They're going to kill Natalie, and they're going to kill Kristen, and they're going to kill... they're going to kill... Well, they may not kill Jam Jam or Ron, or... Maybe we just need to break
Jam
this
Jam's
down.
there again. Stop.
So we have who is Steven, we have who is Mark, who is Tara, who is Johnny, who is Eric, who is Kristen. I feel like some of those we've gotten a lot more, but maybe we should analyze the remaining faithfuls that we have and just talk about like their, if we haven't already discussed them ad nauseum, like what do we see their path like, or what is their character that they've been building so far? Like for Eric, so far we've only, or Dorinda, where Dorinda's the return from last season, first banished, has 2 housewives unknowingly as traitors. So what is her path here? Do you see her staying as a faithful, or do you see her as like the most likely recruit at this point?
I see her lasting a decent amount of time more. I don't think they
I
want to
agree.
recruit her. If they would want to recruit her, I could see them wanting to recruit her just to feed her to the traitors, so that way they think they got the housewife traitor and it's Dorinda this whole time. But in reality, it was Lisa and Candace's whole like plan of wanting to do that. Do I think Lisa and Candace are that smart that they want to do something like that? No. So I don't know too much about like I don't really know. It's funny because I don't really know where I see Dorinda falling. It's interesting too because she is a returnee. I don't know how that would like factor into people's decision of if she would be a traitor or not. Because if I'm in the castle, I'm thinking, well, you came back, so are they gonna make you a traitor so you're not the first one killed again?
Yeah,
Like
obviously
maybe.
it's gonna be the
Yeah. So like I don't see Dorinda. I see Dorinda actually as one of those banishments that like happens before like they reveal like the final ceremony. I
Okay.
forget exactly what it's called.
Yeah,
But when they're
they-
like where they ask if
let's
they
all
want to
throw a
banish
green and
again.
red smoke.
Yeah, the
Yes,
fire.
yes. Yeah, I see Dorinda getting brought along to that point and then them being like, no, like you gotta go, essentially. Somebody that I do see a lot of potential in is Kristen.
Yeah. I feel like she's had a much stronger presence in the show so far than I thought she was going to have. And I love her
Yeah.
pointing out, I mean, she's not accurately pointing out Colton's fishiness, but I do just like that in general. And I think that her surviving that face-to-face murder was huge.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're showing her get into these conversations, and I don't think one person has said yet that they think Kristen is a traitor or has even mentioned her name in a negative way. I think that's a great faithful edit so far. It's just the negative is they're killing the smarter faithfuls. So, and not the nice, unhelpful, random faithful murders. So unless they start changing that up, I don't know if I can have my hopes that Kristen's going to make it through. I love y'all in the chat though. Just saying, why is Steven? How is Steven? When is Steven? I
wanna
don't
see
know
more
any
Steven.
of the answers to that. It's like when I Googled,
Yeah.
is Michael, and the Google automatically filled it the rest with, is Michael Rappaport ruining the traitors? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where is
Yeah,
Steven? Daryl? Yes.
I like that Steven voted for
He's at One Tree
Ron
Hill.
in this
Yes.
last banishment. I thought that was kind of cool of him, that he was like, well, I don't think Michael's a traitor, so I'm going to do something else. And he said that there wasn't any evidence to point that Michael was a traitor. I don't know. It was like his one line of the episode, I feel like, but it gave me like, oh, like there's something there other than you just group thinking. Because I feel like that's how I view all of them, is they're like group thought. But
Oh, it's
Or no.
yeah.
Or no thought.
well, right. That's why they follow the group, because there's like, whatever, this is what everyone else is doing. But I
Yeah.
feel like Steven has a little bit more depth to him than that. So
They seem to they're very much painting him as the I'm so nice, which we went over last week. I just wonder if that I'm so nice is going to turn into anything else. Like, I'm nice, and also I think Rob Roush is a traitor. Like, is it going to be that kind of edit at some
Right.
point? Or I don't, because right now I don't see anything, unless Steven almost seems like the perfect martyr, faithful, like if they want to get rid of that person, or either that or he is the guy that you will see at the end. He is I'm trying to think of a good comparison for him, but at the end, as a faithful that shares the win potentially. I don't think he's out of that running. With like someone like Johnny Weir though, like Tara Lipinski is not in this show so far.
No.
But like with Johnny Weir, what do you see with him? What are you laughing at?
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because the chat is saying Mark who, and Mark is so invisible, y'all haven't said his name yet. And then you go Johnny and Tara, and you still don't say Mark's name.
I mean,
So
I swear to God,
just
I'm gonna
thought it
show up
was
next
funny.
week with Mark's face faded out.
Sorry, I just thought that was really funny because I thought you were gonna bring up Mark, and then you were just like Johnny. Tara.
I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm not bringing up Mark Ballas. For the second week in a row, the Dancing with the Stars fans, the only thing I got from Mark Ballas was when he said that, like, it just feels like scrambled eggs, or whatever that line was, and when he stuck the effigy to kill Jam Jam's soul in
was
that
it.
mission. So that's all I got. Sorry.
I did
He's
have a
dancing his
thought.
way.
He is. I don't know what Mark is doing, but he's doing.
He just
he's
won't
in
stop dancing.
That's him in the background. Mark is just dancing with the stars, literally. um, so when it comes to Johnny and Tara, though, I did have an interesting thought of like maybe like the two of them are like the dumb traitors that get brought, or the dumb traitors. Wow, the dumb faithfuls that get brought to the end segment with like one of the like Rob or Lisa or Candace, and they're like used in terms of like, well, they trust each other to be faithfuls, and then they think that like Rob is like the last faithful with them, and they choose to end the game, and they're wrong. So I can kind of see that kind of a fate for them too, of like, because I feel like they push like Johnny and Tara like knowing each other and being friends, like we've not seen anything with it. Like,
Yeah,
sure, but like, are we gonna do anything? Like,
that's what they're hinting at so far, because they went in and we're like, we're not gonna play together. Like we know each other, but we're not gonna hype that up or anything. And then, which I mean, it's fair, because if they, knowing this castle, if they knew that information, one, not confident they've ever heard of any of them outside of the castle based off of this. And then two, if they did know that information, I would guarantee Colton would go after both of them at once at the round table, and it wouldn't matter anyway. So
Also,
like we had that moment with Tara. Oh, sorry, Zach, but we had that moment with Tara like jumping into Johnny's lap when they were in the room together, just be like, "I miss you." But that's like all we've gotten, other than the hint that they will eventually work together. So it's just like, is that actually going to lead to anything, or are they just saying that to say that because they don't have anything else to include from Tara? Sorry, Zach, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, look at what I sent in Discord. That's literally the peak of Johnny.
I forgot about this too. I want to open this.
no.
What Zach has sent me is the Johnny Weir. We haven't really talked about like their B-roll footage that they have in their bedrooms, which I do enjoy.
Oh.
Like,
I love those. They're like so campy to me.
but this one of Johnny with the picture of Tara on his nightstand.
I didn't even notice that. That's funny.
Wait,
That's cute.
I'll quote Roxy Hellman, "Make me big."
That is really funny. I want to know like how they decide who's gonna do what in their shots. Like, okay, like Tara, you're gonna be in the bath, and then like you're gonna look like you're gonna go to sleep, and then like I want to know like what they do to decide who's gonna do what.
Nick, is this how you sleep with your whenever you stand the boring girls? You just put a picture
It
of them
is
next to your nightstand?
actually. It is. That's where I had my picture of Mackenzie all throughout BB26, right by my bedside.
Also,
there was this player from Traitors UK. Sorry to bring that up. I'm probably just gonna do that for every minimal Traitors season
I love
I've
it.
seen. But there was this
Traitors
guy named
UK.
Andrew on BB UK on Traitors UK, and every time they cut to his room, he was like this big former military guy, just huge, like bodybuilder looking type in his 40s, and like every time they cut to his room, I swear to God, he was just lifting weights, like the most weights you have ever seen, every time. And I just thought it was so funny. But yeah, B-roll footage. And Nick Firmstone brought up Mark Ballas's yo-yo from last week too. Yes, great.
Yes.
I need to log these for next week. It's my
Also-
goal. I have one episode to work with.
speaking of B-roll clips, Barrett, I have the clip.
You have the clip. Are you sharing your screen?
Yeah,
Oh, you are.
The clip of what?
Nick, you know the clip.
Is this on
know
our
the clip.
podcast watching it, or is this just the clip?
It wasn't ever on our podcast. I couldn't find it.
Oh, maybe I hallucinated that. Maybe we watched it off stream, guys.
We do talk for a
Over
while
again
after
on the
these.
race.
I think he's frozen.
Ah, well, what a good frozen image. His smile.
Right?
It's good.
So handsome. Let's see, I can call him.
And I'm going to just pray, Lord, please clear up his communication,
He's on Jess.
unfreeze his video. If you can hear us, Kylan, pray.
Let's see.
Well,
Oh my
Zach,
God.
thank you so much. I don't remember watching that. I don't think we did. But maybe
Well, I
we did.
remember
like,
watching it, and I'm pretty sure I watched it with you guys. So maybe I'm crazy.
If we did, I could see us watching it. We always hang out after we end our stream. So if we were just watching that and I was like like trying to upload something and have paying attention, I could see that happening too. So my bad. I'm glad we at least have what conquered this mystery though, because I was going crazy for a second. Okay, going back to Traitors. Where do we want to? We talked about Johnny and Tara just now. Let's talk about predictions a little bit. So next week we just have one episode. I think we should all just, who's gonna get murdered, if anybody, since we don't know if that's actually gonna happen, and who will be the next person banished. And before we say that, who are our big options for the next banishment? Because we have, who's gonna get votes right now if they had another one?
Ron
would get votes. I think Ron is the obvious. I think Ron's the obvious choice to go.
Yeah,
but
I think Colton is gonna get some heat this next round, especially with that scene with like Kristen and I think Eric and Mark, and they were all talking about how Colton was sus. So I can see Colton copping a couple votes, especially, and the Lisa stuff too. Definitely, if they don't murder him, I could see Colton being targeted at the banishment for sure.
I could see Rob starting to get some heat. Who was Michael talking to? Like all the good-looking guys, or it's one of the hunks or whatever.
The hunks, that's what he called them. Yeah.
Who is he talking to?
I don't remember.
Do we want to? No, because they're not even hinting at this. I was gonna say, do we want to even like theorize that someone could go after Rob R in a round table next episode, and that's why Alan Cumming is like this the greatest thing, or should we? Is it just gonna be Lisa?
I think it's gonna be someone like out of nowhere, like maybe Lisa or Rob. What if Lisa and Rob R both get heat, and now they're just
oh my god, they vote against each other?
Yeah,
if he defends her, it could be interesting, but I don't know, like,
because it's something that's never happened before, right?
Is this? I just don't know. Are we going to be disappointed? Is this going to be like the Jeff Probst isms, where we're like, this is going to be crazy? The season starts off so hot and everyone's tired, and then once the weather cools down, that's when the game just is insane. Is this Alan Cumming trying to get us like to be more hyped than we should be? Or...
And then the next challenge is they're going to be barefoot and having to put a puzzle together with their feet.
Right. Well, it's weird that we say this, right? Because when did they say that episode or that round table was?
Episode 6.
Episode 6. Is that this next episode? Oh, it is this next episode. Oh crap.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I think it could be just Lisa Rinna. Like, we teased that going into this episode. I think it could be like a crazy round table where either Lisa Rinna gets banished or she gets herself out of getting banished and gets like someone like Colton banished instead.
Which could be the case. My theory with that like whole like hype of it was that it was gonna be Lisa and Rob turned on Candace, because Candace doesn't follow Rob on social media, and to me that's interesting. So I was under the impression that big thing that they were hyping up was going to be the two traitors turning on Candace, but
it also no, because it also makes sense why Lisa and Rob are so like they like literally come to my farm, we'll herd snakes together or whatever they do on snake farms. They lasso snakes or whatever. That makes sense.
I would love to go to Rob's snake farm,
and it would be even
with him.
It would be even. Would this be the first time that like two housewives specifically go at it?
Maybe. I don't remember any of the housewives going after each other.
I can't imagine this would be the first time, right? In 4 seasons.
Well, not like someone like directly. Obviously, like people would vote. Housewives have voted against each other, but like two
but
housewives
like you mean
going head to head.
Like Candace and Lisa targeting each other. Like I don't know, honestly. I feel like you're right, because I'm thinking back, right, and like last season, I don't remember the housewives going after each other like that. And I know the season before that it was not like that, because that's what caused all of like the housewife thing to be a problem essentially.
Which is
So
so funny that there's already 2 gone.
yeah. So I think you're right, Zach. But that might be, I don't know. That was my theory, though, is that like Lisa and Rob turn on Candace, and that's why Candace doesn't follow Rob on social media. Because Candace had said something too in an interview about how she had something to say to somebody at the reunion or something like it was very like cryptic and weird, and I was like, I feel like she's talking about Rob. It just made me feel
Yeah.
like she was talking about Rob. So I don't know, but maybe it is Lisa. And maybe
Which
Rob
also
turns
makes
on Candace after that. I don't know. Like, interesting
so
stuff, though.
the question that like Lisa, is she? I'm trying to make this question like, is she likely to like not care about other housewives? Well, obviously she literally killed Carolyn, but like
And she voted
uh
Portia out.
yeah,
Sorry.
so clearly she doesn't care who she has to stab in the back. And if Rob,
No.
and I feel like Lisa and Rob are closer in general,
Mhm.
so I could see Rob working the angle of like him thinking that him making both the housewives think that him making Lisa think that him and Lisa are close, while also thinking and making sure that Candace thinks Rob and him and Candace are closer than Lisa and Rob, if that makes sense. Like working the housewives against each other without them knowing.
Mhm. I get what you're saying. Like, kind of playing the middle in a way.
Yeah, pretty much. And like Candace has some words for him because it's like we were tight.
Like, you
I
played me.
thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. I can see
So
it. I really can. Lisa is definitely stone cold. So, like, as someone who's watched every single episode of Housewives that she's been on, she is definitely stone cold. So I feel like she would definitely vote a housewife out, even if it was a traitor with her.
Can we make Colton Underwood in this roundtable Kim Richards?
I would love for that to happen. Like, absolutely love for that to happen. Like Lisa
I want you to
cracking
know.
her glass at the
You see, if it was that level, like I would understand why Alan would be talking about it that way. Like, if it ends up being like in my mind, the perfect roundtable is Lisa Rinna versus Colton, and Lisa wins. It's almost like
Yes.
it's not quite like Boston Rob versus Derek Levasseur, and Wes ends up getting eliminated, but it's almost there for me in terms of just like you thought you were gonna come in here, and especially with how bad Colton was with Tiffany's argument. There's no way he's gonna make an argument for Lisa Rinna.
with
Like what?
Lisa Rinna.
Yeah.
If he couldn't handle Tiffany Mitchell, he's got another thing coming with Lisa Rinna. Because she could argue. And she's quick.
I'm saying I need Lisa to look at Colton like he's Kim Richards in Amsterdam. I'm not saying Colton is Kim Richards. Please.
You're saying
Stop.
Colton is
Hey,
Kim Richards?
I need Lisa Rinna to yell at Colton like he's Kim Richards. That's what I want.
I need her to run across that table.
Exactly. I need security to have to come in.
Can you imagine the henchmen secure, like the people looking like death coming in to take Lisa Rinna away?
She's like screaming.
She's like gouging his eyes out.
Ooh, I haven't looked at the trailer for the next episode, so I don't know what if they tease anything. I didn't want to know just because I knew it was that
No,
episode.
they
so
actually
I'm excited.
didn't tease. They showed the challenge or the mission. That was it.
Okay.
They didn't show anything other than that.
Next episode on the Traitors.
Hey, it was good.
That was kind of good.
Do we need to do the
backstabbing.
Big Brother thing?
Some
for Traitors
backstabbing
now?
is in store. Will the traitors finally turn on each other? Or will more blood be shed? Or will another traitor be added to the collection?
Very good. If I had the music behind you, it would have been. No one
Spot
would have
on.
even known. They would have thought that they
Yeah.
accidentally opened up their Peacock app.
Alan Cumming is our special guest.
He is.
You never know. Friend of the pod. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay. What else do we want to talk about, Traitors wise? Because we had one less episode to talk about, and we're here 8 minutes longer than we were last week.
And we're gonna be
That's
here
kind
on
of funny.
It's one episode from here on out.
Yep. It's gonna be very lengthy one episode talks from us from here on out.
Oh boy.
So very excited. I do want to look over my notes just to make sure I didn't miss anything big. Before, let's just make an official prediction from each of us. I'm gonna say there is no murder in that Lisa Rinna is gonna be banished. I'll make my bold prediction just because I'm gonna go off of Alan's word that it's not gonna be like Ron Funches. I just don't think Alan would say that if it ended up being Ron Funches, unless it's the most batshit crazy thing surrounding it, and then somehow ends in a Ron. It's like Big Brother 21, where we have all that chaos when the satellite feed, when we got to see all of that, and then it just ends up in a unanimous Sam eviction. You know, it's like, okay, why did we do any of this then?
Yeah,
So-
but it was still crazy. The friendship.
I saw someone
or
bring
not-
up Jack Matthews earlier. I'm sorry to bring that back.
No,
who?
we didn't have to say that,
Who?
but okay.
Shower stool?
We had a great time at his eviction party. At least me and Roxy did. I think that was one of the podcasts that we were in the same room on.
That's funny.
Yeah. Okay. So, Nick, what's your prediction? Next episode, murder and banishment.
I don't think that there's gonna be murder. I think someone's a snake and took a shield. I think it was I actually rewatched the mission this morning, and I think it was the group that Dorinda and Natalie were in. I think that they took the shields, if I'm being honest with you. So I don't think that there's gonna be murder. And I do think that the Lisa banishment is tempting, and I wouldn't be shocked if you're wrong, but I'm not going to say that, and I'm going to stick to my Candace conspiracy theory, and that Rob and Lisa flip it onto Candace at the round table.
All right. Hi, Julie Human, as well. Love to see you
Oh my
here.
God, hi, Julie Human.
Zach, murder, banishment, predictions.
I think if there was a murder.
Oh, am I wrong? If they took the shields, there is murder? I thought if they took the shields, there was no murder.
If
But
they
I guess
took a
that
shield,
makes sense.
there is a murder. If they didn't take
Oh.
a
Yeah.
shield, then there
I
was no
probably
murder.
missaid that too earlier. That's my bad. Yes, it's the opposite of what you would.
Oh,
I feel
well,
like.
if they
So you
took the
think-
shields, then, oh my
The
God,
shields.
then
Only
if they
one
took the
person is going to be safe.
Okay, let me back up then. I'm sorry, Zach. I'll let you continue in a second. I do think that that group did take the shield. Like, I'm being honest with you. I watched it and I was like, I feel like they actually want to take it. Maybe they're going to kill Colton, and that's what gets the ball rolling on Lisa Rinna, and then they flip it onto Candace. So
Nick. That is such a good fucking point. Because they did bring that up, and that's the other edit that they can make with that is Lisa bringing up Colton saying we have to murder him.
Yeah.
They do, but they include that because it's Lisa's biggest downfall that she could have is that they did murder him. So I like that theory that we could end up. But does that still lead to a Candace banishment?
I don't know.
See, I could. I think that Natalie took the shield.
Yep. That group. There was something about that
Yeah.
group, and Natalie and Dorinda were both like,
just
I
wanna
want to do
see.
it.
I just
Yeah.
wanna see.
Yeah.
Like I was just like iffy about it because I was just like, okay, like you've seen it on TV
Mhm.
before. Why do you want to see it so bad? And
Just let me look at it.
yeah, just let me see.
Let me put it in my pocket.
Yeah. And then so I think that Natalie took the shield, and it'd be a perfect time for Colton to get got because Lisa ain't gonna let that slide whatsoever. And if they could, they're gonna go for Colton. Because who did Colton say Lisa's name to?
It was like a bunch of people. Dorinda,
Rob-
Jam,
it was a whole room of
Rob.
people.
Yeah, there was like a Tara, I think, was even there. Like, it was a lot of people. Moira was there. There was a lot of people in that
Because
room.
that'd be a lot. That'd be a good thing for Lisa to say. Why would I kill Colton? Like because he said especially after he said my name in front of everyone. That'd be stupid. So, and I feel like that's gonna. I think Colton's gonna get killed, and that's gonna lead towards people like saying, "Ooh, so Lisa is a traitor and all this stuff," and then Candace isn't gonna stick up for her or anything like that, and then Rob, Art, and Lisa are both gonna. there has to be there's a missing piece to how they're going to flip it onto Candace, because I don't think Lisa's going to go. But I think that there's something that's going to happen where Candace is going to have so much sus on her that it can't be ignored. And it's not
Yep.
going to feel like it's coming out of nowhere, because, you know, you have someone like Dan who is just like, Phaedra, whatever. Yeah, the conga lines are
The
perfect.
conga line is the weirdest thing, and the fact that Tiffany's not there either and never brought that up.
Yeah.
But like, it's
Yeah.
just like, hey, you remember when Rob C said there was a murder in plain sight the same time that conga line started?
Yeah.
And that
And
then
also
he
Candace had that
died?
one thing that I don't know. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the Portia
And then
argument.
he died in plain sight, like after saying it was happening. Like,
Oh well.
like
The Portia
whatever.
argument with Candace too.
Yes.
oh yeah, the Portia argument. Yeah, I mean, Candace has had sus on her before. You know, it's
Yeah.
like
So, and I think that, especially since Rob R has none on him, he's a perfect someone to be like, oh, we believe what Rob R says and all this
mhm.
stuff. And then they get a trailer like, oh my God, oh, we got a traitor. And then leading into the next episode, it's recruitment time. And
Yeah.
who would they?
I'm really am thinking about all of this and who could turn on who within that turret and how all of that would fall. I just think that they would have hinted at it if they were gonna say that. Like the only thing that they really had, Rob R, like when Colton was bringing up Lisa's name, Rob R did have that confessional where he's like, "There's only so much I can do," you know, where he did bring it up to Lisa, which kind of made me discount it in my head because I thought, okay, well you're not gonna tell her, but. I don't know. I feel like they would have shown something if Candace was going to try to flip the script or if Lisa was going to try to flip the script. I feel like we would have seen that already. So if it happens in this next episode, I think it'll just be so rushed. And then we didn't have time to really predict all of that. But it would be so cool if it did happen. I agree with y'all.
I'm wondering, because if it's just Lisa and Rob R, who would we think they would recruit?
Anyone's game at that point. I think I don't
Like
think I know
Natalie.
Natalie. We said Natalie would be a great recruit, but I don't think they would pick her in the same
Yeah.
sense that like they're not
I feel like they're
murdering
scared they'd be scared of Natalie. Yeah,
they're way more likely to murder Natalie than pick her as another traitor. I could see Rob
Mhm.
pushing for maybe a Mora traitor if he wanted to, since it'd be 2 housewives, 2 Love Island, possibly. Wait,
Mhm.
never mind. If someone got it, never mind. It wouldn't be that because one of them
well,
would be gone.
right, but
My bad.
I could still see that, or I could see them wanting to pull in like a Ron so they could feed him to like the
Yeah, you always
know,
got to
like-
think of who's going to get the most votes next. Let's feed
Yeah.
him to the wolves, and then everyone gets to be
Mhm.
happy and think that they got a
Mhm.
traitor out. I love that strategy. So
Me too. I think
But
it's
I
like
just
the
don't think they're
perfect
gonna
way
do
to
it.
play. I don't know. I guess it depends, right? Because I feel like Lisa and Rob are like not like strategic like that, so maybe not. But
Rob R's from Love Island. Love Island's a competition show. They have to be.
it is a competition show. Okay, there's a winner at every season.
we say he's not strategic, but their murders have been fairly
Okay,
strategic.
I'll give him the strategy card then. If y'all,
I
Rob
think
is
I'm gonna
a
I want to give
strategic
him the
king.
strategy card. I think I think the traitors do have strategy to them, and I think Candace is right for clocking that we're annoyed by it. But like that's the thing I have with the show. That's the thing I have with the casting. That's the thing I have with the producers more so than I have with them. Because if we're getting real, why would you keep Rob Sesternino around if he is not a traitor with you? You know,
Because
why would
we
you
like
keep Ian
him.
Terry around if he's not a traitor with you?
Because we like him.
I do. I like both of them. I've liked almost all of the people that have gotten murdered so far, and it sucks to to watch them get murdered so early in the game. They could recruit Jam Jam. They could have that. Yeah, I like that, Colton. I feel like I've been very lax on the chat
Ooh.
lately, but Jam Jam would be an interesting recruit. Another like person that they could throw to the wolves in a way. Be like, Jam Jam's name has gotten brought up. It would answer maybe some questions for people for some of those murders and be like, oh, our theories were right. It was a gamer taking out gamers, if there's anybody with that. So
Go for Eric.
what does Eric, that would only be the angle of like, we're not going to get found out maybe, or if like Steven, I feel like
Well,
would be that
Rob R
angle
and Eric
too.
are cool.
Okay, so we could have Eric potential. Who were they? I mean, what is the edit showing us so far though? What do we really, do we think Eric has been leading to a recruit?
No.
I just don't see
The,
Eric as
the edit is showing Mark. The edit is showing Mark.
Right.
The edit is not showing Mark. Okay,
No.
let's get that
They're
straight.
hiding Mark.
I think Dorinda, Johnny, Moira, Jam would be my big picks for recruits right now.
I feel like those are all solid. I feel like maybe not Johnny. I think Moira would be a good pick. I think the Ron theory of like tossing him to the wolves is a good pick. I think they could do the same thing with Jam even. So I think that that's valid too. Even Dorinda at this point too. Like I was saying too, I feel like Dorinda, oh God, I'd be so devastated if they do this to her. But Dorinda would be the perfect, like, Candace gets clocked. They bring in Dorinda, throw Dorinda to the wolves. Dorinda gets banished. And then it's like we banished 2 housewives and they were both traitors. Lisa's not a traitor. Like that just clears her. So, but I don't know if they're thinking that much ahead. So,
I'm trying to think like if they did pick Ron to do I think that's a great strategy. Just pick Ron.
Yeah.
He gets banished. He would not be happy. He would not be happy with this, by the way. I do think that there is potential he could just like completely make this backfire on you if you pick him and he knows what you're doing to him. Because he's not dumb. Even though he's had 6 names that were not correct, but he's going to know the names that were. And I could see him easily switching that up and making every point that he possibly could to be like, I'm going to get Rob R out, or I'm going to make every point I can to get Lisa Rinna out or Candace out or whoever's left at that point if he did get recruited. So you have to think about that as well. Is like, are they going to be cool with you using this as a strategy? Then again, we don't see people like typically just go to the round table and say like they're a traitor. They're a traitor and I know it because they picked me. Like he's not going to do that. But can he craft an argument that's believable enough after no one has believed him so far? Probably not. So I think that's a great strategy, because if they do, sorry, I feel like I'm rambling, but if they do get rid of Ron, that would confirm a theory with other people about like Jam probably, or like at least he's in the mix of the people that they were theorizing. So it gives you the hope that we can get another one out next. Let's go with our line of thinking. We've got momentum. We got Ron out. Now let's get Jam out. And so you can try to think of it that way too, or just how can you frame that for your future banishments? I feel like they're pretty well set up. It's just that first recruitment's going to be a big deal when it happens, assuming it's a win. Why wouldn't it be?
Or they could get Steven.
Or Steven would be funny.
That'd be so random. If they're like,
or
talk to Steven?
Kristen. Like
Winter Olympics. This is how the Winter Olympics get brought in, is one of Johnny and Tara get recruited.
Right.
That's what I'm not excited for. It's like, well, if you recruited Johnny, we would give you a little bit of a bonus because we have the Winter Olympics coming up on NBC. Okay. I want to do something crazy before we're done here. I do want to make a prediction, a winner-esque prediction.
Okay.
Between all of us. I want to, let's just say a name or 2 names, whatever you think this season is going to end as right now. It could be as crazy of a theory. You can say 4 faithfuls or 3 faithfuls. We can have a whole season 3 ending again or whatever. We can have a season 1 ending. Just give me your prediction. That's really what I want. Nick, you go first.
I'm getting
if you have anybody.
Yeah. We're getting a Rob R win. That is my 100%. Solo win. Rob R.
Mary agrees. Nick Firmstone agrees.
Period. Taste in the chat. That's what I'm seeing.
Okay, so a solo traitor win,
I think
joining Sari in the
Rob.
US.
Yeah, I think that we're due for it. Number 1, I think that Rob is like kind of the center focus of everything, in my opinion. And I feel like edit-wise, and I feel like Lisa and Candace are both going to eventually get clocked. I mean, like, we see the writing on the wall. Rob has only had suspicion from Michael, okay? And Michael's gone. And no one believed anything Michael said. at all. So I think Rob is sitting pretty. And I think, like I said before, my theory is that we're going to get a Rob and Moira like final two, where Moira is going to be like, it's
Yeah.
going to be so good. So
You made me think of a point that we didn't bring up that Colton made in his episodes, mainly because it was Colton making them, that like everybody that had voted Michael out had been murdered at that point in the game, and that was another way. So I do think there is also some strategy to go to the turrets way. I do think that framing people for who they voted for is also so important, and I think that they did that. And so I that was really cool, and I don't think that was on accident. That they did that either. I just don't think it made the show that was part of their plan too.
I agree.
So I really enjoy that they feed it into that the Michael theory for people with that murder as like a benefit to also getting rid of all the people that they've gotten rid of so far. Sorry, that was totally about your winner predictions, but I like your prediction. I like Colton in chat saying I have no hope as a prediction. And Jameson agrees with you as well, Nick. I think that's what Jameson's agreeing with.
Taste Jameson, as always.
Zach, who are your winner predictions right now? Or who is your winner prediction?
Natalie. I think that Natalie.
You and Carlos.
I mean, I want her to win. I think that she has, whether it be as traitor or faithful, I think that she has what it takes to win. And she hasn't gotten any heat so far. No one's really clocking her. And the thing about it is that, like, yeah, she's a winner, but she's so far removed from being a winner, hardly anyone's talking about it. Like,
yeah, you are. Carlos is. I do think y'all, this is a great point, and I am really jealous that y'all have both picked, I think, two really good predictions, or two people that I think right now seem to be that they're going to be at the end. Because, like, why would they include Natalie's in the first episode saying, I want to play an aggressive, faithful game? Like, why would they include? I just don't think they would have included her necessarily saying that if she doesn't have like a lot of good moments as an aggressive, faithful. It's just, is she going to be, I don't know. I hope she's so aggressive that they just can't murder her. Like, I just had every chance. And also that saying she's going to play an aggressive, faithful game, there is no way she did not take that shield. Are you kidding me? All she wants is the shields.
Exactly.
Natalie lives for the shields.
That's what I was saying, that group took it.
So, Zach, Nick, great predictions. I don't even know what to do now.
Let's say, your turn.
Yeah.
Who are you going to curse this time?
Oh, no. It doesn't work for Traitors, though, maybe. I think we're going to get a faithful win this season again, but I don't think it's going to be the same as last year, the same energy. I think I like a Natalie faithful win, but I think she's going to be there with multiple people. I'm going to say it's going to be Natalie and Moira. And I'm going to say one more. I'm going to say it's going to be Natalie, Moira, and dare I say Steven at the end, sharing a faithful win together.
You know what? Sure. I could see it. That's why I like the Traitors, though, because of how like literally anybody on this board right now can win this game. And I like that. Like, I feel like Big Brother, we're like, well, it's going to be this one. Survivor, it's going to be this one. I like that. So I like those picks, Barrett. That's good.
Thanks. But I do, yeah. Where is Steven? Who is Steven? How is Steven? Great, because he's won.
Exactly.
And the soul of Lord Ivar returns in Steven. Okay. Anything else we want to talk about? I am sure there are a million things that we didn't cover. I'm sorry for people who love missions. I do not like talking about the missions on this show. I don't know if there are many of you out there. I'm not going to conform. Nick, Zach, anything else that y'all want to talk about? Anybody that you want to mention? I feel like we've mentioned everybody at least for a sentence or two. Okay.
I mean, we didn't talk about because you are a traitor.
I see, and that's okay.
I'm totally okay with totally skipping that piece of the episode because it was
We didn't
not fun.
include him in the season preview. We didn't include him much last week, unless when we absolutely had to. We didn't include it. We didn't include him when he absolutely had to this week, really, either. Waste of time, waste of space on this cast. Glad it's over. Hopefully we'll have more over next week.
Agreed.
Okay. I will get Islands in the stream. Do we have any more winner predictions in the chat that I saw? My mom said Steven for the win. Also, my niece Ava is saying hi, apparently. So hi, Ava. I think she tried to call me earlier as well. Couldn't answer. I was doing this. I'm sorry. But y'all, thank y'all so much for being here. Y'all were so active in the chat today. I'm so sorry if I could not get to everything y'all were saying, but between everybody that was here, thank you so much for being here. Join us next week again. We're going to be talking about the next episode of the Traitors, the crazy roundtable, whatever that's going to be, another murderer, possibly another banishment, and future predictions. We'll have probably a whole new game to talk about next week, or maybe we'll just be more upset. Can't wait to find out. In the meantime, we're all over the internet. We are on Instagram, Twitter. We're on YouTube. If you want to subscribe to the channel, like the video, as always, follow us anywhere. We're on. I really should properly plug this. We are on Instagram now at Our Reality Podcast. If you want to give us a follow, that link is in the description below. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those things. Leave us a review. That's really fun too. Yeah, you can catch us anywhere you want. Next week, more Traitors. I got nothing else. Zach, just say the thing you always say. Let's get out of here.
Oh. Yeah. I guess I'll see you at BravoCon. You won't. Perception is reality. Our reality.
All right. Good night, everybody. See you next week.